Chapter 648. Even so, there was a limit to her patience. She turned around and glanced at Ouyang Yan's abdomen. Then, she looked at her face and sneered. What am I afraid of? I'm not pregnant. If I really get divorced, I'll still marry a good man. What about you? Are you so sure that I'll get divorced? Actually, I'm thinking right now. I won't get divorced even if I die. I'll let you bear a big belly until you give birth. As a single mother, what's so great about being able to give birth? Any woman can give birth as long as her body functions are normal. Can you give birth to a rare egg? Yi Er stared at Ouyang Yan's belly again and sneered. But I see that you really can only give birth to eggs when you're with a human. Ouyang Yan held her head. Too many things had happened at home recently, and she had been dealing with them all the time. Now that Yi Er had scolded her inhumane, she was annoyed and angry. You can't even give birth to an egg. Yi Er saw that Ouyang Yan was a little angry. This woman changed so quickly. In the past, when they stood together, she really couldn't see any changes in Ouyang Yan's mood. Now that she was angry, it was so obvious. Why did she feel so happy to see this woman angry? It's not that I can't give birth to a child. I'm different from you. I'm too young and don't want to give birth at all. We haven't even spent enough time together. Wouldn't it be troublesome to give birth to a child? I'm different from you. You'll be lonely if you're alone. You're not like me. I have a husband to eat with, chat with, sleep with, and travel with my husband every day. If you don't give birth to an egg and come out to play, I'm afraid you'll go crazy and jump off a building. Yi Er didn't continue talking to Ouyang Yan. She was just showing off. This woman was more sophisticated than her. She was no match for Ouyang Yan at all. If she stayed any longer, she would be the one who would be angry. She ignored Ouyang Yan and pressed the elevator button to leave. Ouyang Yan was really angry at Yi Er's words. Seeing the elevator door close, her watery eyes became as cold as a knife. She gritted her teeth and felt that she had always been too dignified. That was why she was defeated by Yunyi. Jiang Zhao had loved her before, but she, who had always been cautious, was not as free and easy as Yunyi. Men liked the new and hated the old. Jiang Zhao must have felt that a woman like Yunyi was fresh and exciting. She couldn't understand the so-called true nature of a man, but she knew that men were not good people. They were all eating from the bowl and looking at the pot. When Ouyang Yan left Ninth Mansion, she received a call from Jiang Zhao. Ouyang Yan, what the hell are you doing? Second brother? Ouyang Yan slowed down the car and laughed to herself. Ouyang Yan, have you forgotten that you've always called me Yan Yan? Do you want to die? Who told you to look for her? It was just a light mockery, but when he stepped on the brakes, it turned into a guffaw. He laughed until tears came out of his eyes. She could hear the man's heavy breathing, and she could hear the sound of his teeth grinding. Since she was young, she had never seen Jiang Zhao angry. Although many people said that Jiang Zhao was not easy to get along with, and although he treated people well, he was actually a little cold and arrogant. Even so, Jiang Zhao treated her well and was almost obedient. When they were young, she was the princess that everyone worshipped. After they got together, she was the princess in his hands. He had never lost his temper and shouted at her. He even viciously said that she wanted to die, didn't she? When Yunyi hit her, not only did he not help, he even grabbed her hand and let Yunyi hit her. After so long, he didn't ask if she was doing well, but asked if she wanted to die. Laughter, cries, and the sound of falling tears. Even if Ouyang Yan cried, she had never cried like this before. Jiang Zhao had already returned to mansion number 9, but there was no one at home. He called Yi Er's cell phone, but she didn't pick up. When he called the store, the clerk who went there early said that the boss hadn't gone to work yet. It wasn't easy for him to calm down his life, but now it was a mess. He felt that God had made things for him, testing his endurance time and time again. Do you only have Yunyi in your heart now? But I'm pregnant with your child. What should I do? Ouyang Yan cried and laughed as she covered her mouth. Do you want to abandon your debt and live happily ever after with Yunyi? Are you dreaming? I won't do as you wish. That's great, that's great. Yunyi must hate you to death. Why do I feel so comfortable? Ouyang Yan wanted to continue, but Jiang Zhao hung up. Jiang Zhao was worried that something would happen to Yi Er, but he wouldn't let anything happen to her, The first thing he should do now was to find her. Yi Er went to the dance studio. She needed to find something to do. She couldn't think about Ouyang Yan's pregnancy. That provocative gaze flashed in front of her, and the dark brown horsewhip lashed out in the air, causing her heart to palpitate with fear reverberating in her ears. Jiang Zhao worked from Monday to Friday. Occasionally, he would work overtime on weekends. She basically knew his schedule. When he was free, he would accompany her at home. The two of them would also go to the movies. Although they slept in separate rooms during this period, she felt that their relationship was becoming more normal. They were no longer like before, where they wanted to win or lose in everything. Most of the time, he would give in to her. Occasionally, he would get a little angry, but if that was the case, she would give in to him. At the end of the day, neither of them wanted a divorce. Even if she minded that matter, she still couldn't bear to part with him. Especially when she felt how good he was to her. Sleeping in separate rooms must have made him hungry, right? In the past, she knew that if a man didn't have enough to eat at home, he would go out to eat. Xia Qian parked her car at the roadside. She got out of the car and called Xiaoya. Sis, I'm at Yi Er's office. I'll come over to look for you later. Xiaoya said, I'll come over to look for you guys later. After hanging up, she went to look for Yi Er. However, Xia Qian followed behind Yi Er and listened to her scolding people. First, she said that people didn't wipe the wall mirrors clean. Then, she said that the voice at the reception desk was impolite. Then, she said that someone was slacking off early in the morning. Xia Qian finally followed Yi Er to her office. She sighed and said, Yinyi, are you like this at home too? Jiang Zhao likes a woman like you? Oh my God, he has such strong tastes. He likes a woman who nags like she's going through menopause. How can he like a woman with such a sharp tongue? Isn't this too tasteless? Yi Er had been angered by Ouyang Yan's bitch attitude this morning. Now that she was provoked by Xia Qian, she almost stomped her feet. She was paired with Jiang Zhao, and Jiang Zhao was tasteless? The last time she beat up Ouyang Yan and let Ouyang Sheng threaten the Jiang and Qin families, it was not what she wanted. This time, she did not vent her anger. Xia Qian happened to be there. She rolled up her sleeves and pounced on Xia Qian. But when she was about to push Xia Qian to the ground and tickle her, Jiang Zhao pushed open the door of Yi Er's office. Yi Er was stunned. She rolled her eyes at Jiang Zhao and stared at him angrily. Xia Qian turned and saw Jiang Zhao. Mayor Jiang, hurry up and drag this commoner's wife out of the office. She's going to turn the world upside down. When Xia Qian said that Yi Er was a commoner, Yi Er remembered Ouyang Yan's noble and reserved manner. Who are you calling commoner? Who are you calling commoner? She stretched out her hand to strangle Xia Qian, and Jiang Zhao walked over. He bent down and picked up Yi Er from the floor. He looked at her coldly. Xia Qian stood up. She was an idiot and felt the atmosphere was weird. But her instincts told her that Jiang Zhao wanted to uphold justice for her. Jiang Zhao, you better teach your wife a lesson. She does not behave like a commoner's wife at all. She is such a B***TCH. It's embarrassing to bring her out. Jiang Zhao turned and looked at Xia Qian angrily. Xia Qian, seems like you're not comfortable with your internship at the TV station. Xia Qian finally realized that they were husband and wife. Her job was arranged by Jiang Zhao, and it was easy for her to get into the city television station. Many low-ranking officials and their families could not even get the chance to be an intern. Who knows how many red packets they would have to bribe them. However, she did not spend a single cent. She was a person who did not forget to dig the well. When she saw Jiang Zhao, he was her benefactor. She could not treat him as casually as she treated Yi Er. Hence, she immediately laughed and scratched her head. Haha, it's very comfortable, very comfortable. I am here today to tell Yi Er that I will be doing an interview at the city swimming pool in a few days. You all can look for the news tomorrow. Xia Qian felt that she must show her face during this interview. She suddenly felt that she was going to be a celebrity. This feeling was too good. Yi Er shouted at Xia Qian. Lousy host. Who wants to see you? Xia Qian jumped back and raised her hand to stop him. Fine, fine, fine. I will leave first. You can come and see me again when I become an unbreakable host. I feel that your yin and yang are out of balance and you have a bad temper. I suggest you go to a doctor to recuperate. I have been following a program recently. The TV station is doing a health program that focuses on how to maintain one's health and recuperate. I suggest you take a look. Xia Qian, if you continue to stay here, I am afraid you won't be able to escape the interview at the swimming pool. Many people are trying to squeeze into that internship. Zhang Zhao had just finished speaking when Xia Qian's voice reached the corridor. I am leaving. I wish you all a blissful marriage. When Xia Qian arrived at Xiao Ye's workplace, she sighed and told her about what had happened at Yi Er's place. Sis, Yi Er is so unrighteous. She actually wanted to fight with me. She is such a shrew. There was a stage in front of Xiao Ye. The stage was wrapped in a wedding gown. The white gauze flowed on the ground, leaving a happy trail behind it. Xiao Ye's hand was under her chin, covering the area below her nose. Her eyes were clear and bright as she stared at her work. It was as if there was a living person standing in front of her. She saw the beautiful smile on the bride's face. Although the bride had beautiful shoulder blades, her neck was a little short. The bride was also a little conservative. If the gown was changed to a V-neck, would the bride be able to accept it? There were accessories and lace on the work table. She picked up 2 pieces of luxurious hand-knitted lace and imagined how the wedding gown would look like after the change. She placed the lace on the shoulder straps and pulled it down to the cleavage at the chest. Then she picked up the sketchbook and pencil on the work table. She erased the top half of the wedding gown with an eraser and sketched seriously. The lace sleeves were slightly blistered and stretched all the way to the chest. The V-neck looked deep, but the faintly discernible lace was able to block the glow that everyone coveted. The lace on the sleeves was changed again. The density of the silk flowers was higher than the lace on the chest. The texture was soft. The bride's shoulders were too thin and the bones on her shoulders were too protruding. The lace sleeves just wrapped around the bones. Add. Songshu 566. Chapter 649. Xiao Ye looked at the draft and made a call to the client. Xia Qian thought it was boring to talk to herself, so she quietly watched Xiao Ye work. Hello, Mrs. Ning, I'm Xiao Ye. Yes. You too. How could I? You specifically asked me to design it myself. How could I let an employee do it? Yes, it's like this. I've changed the drawing again. I think it might be more suitable for you. Of course, I need your approval before I can change it. I'll draw a neat drawing later and send it to you. Take a look. Will it be better after I change it? No. Our employees are very responsible, not just me. Okay, I'll contact you later. Xiao Ye hung up the phone. Xia Qian looked at Xiao Ye in a daze. Sis, you're a little schizophrenic. You're completely different at work and in real life. Xiao Ye was still immersed in drawing and carefully comparing the patterns on Alexis. Qian, when you work in the future, you have to be very serious and responsible. I've always been serious. You're just too schizophrenic. Xiao Ye shook her head. It's not a split. It's an attitude towards work. Although I've never told you about my affairs, and you've always acted like you don't know anything, I know very well, and you pretty much guessed it. Doing business is like growing up from a baby. We have to learn to walk and rely on others to encourage, support, and reward us. When we fall, adults will pick us up again. But during this time, we have to cherish and work hard, because it's sad to always need other support. No one doesn't want to walk alone, then run, then climb mountains and conquer the land under their feet. Do you understand what I'm saying? Xia Qian scratched her head. I understand. It means that we can't let adults feed us. We have to learn to eat by ourselves. Sis, I think brother-in-law is very handsome. How could she not see that the man she met last time? Her sister's affairs were at the peak of her career. She rarely saw this man around her. Her sister didn't deliberately hide it. She just used it to remind her not to tell the elders at home. What if I tell you that he's not your future brother-in-law? You can find anyone to be your brother-in-law, as long as that person treats you well. Also, you should be able to tell that Zhao actually treats Yi Er very well. For a man to allow his woman to act like a shrew in front of outsiders, it means that he loves her. You shouldn't reprimand Yi Er's character. Instead, you should envy her for finding a good husband. In the future, you should also find a man who loves you. When the time comes, I'll make you the most beautiful wedding dress and make you the most beautiful bride. Sis, what are you talking about? I don't want to get married. Now, why do I feel like something's wrong with you today? Something so interesting happened in Yer, but you don't seem to be in the mood at all. Are you hiding something from me? Shia looked up. Huh? She looked at Xia Qian, who was sitting at her workbench and looking at her seriously. I always look like this when I'm working. Why did she reveal her emotions so easily now? Oh yes, I feel that Yer must have something on her mind today. I'm afraid she might have gotten into a fight with Jiang Zhao. Let's go over and take a look later. Yer is about to hit someone. If they really get into a fight, it won't be nice. Jiang Zhao is the mayor after all, and Yer is not rational now. As her friends, we can't let her do whatever she wants. Furthermore, she is very prideful now, and I'm afraid she can't stand it anymore. Xiaoyu threw her pen aside and changed into her high heels. She took her coat from the coat rack. Let's go over now. I don't want anything to happen. Xiaoyu and Xia Qian had just arrived at Yer's store when they bumped into Ouyang Yin, who had just parked her car. Xiaoyu greeted her in a friendly manner. Miss, why are you here today? Ouyang Yin saw Xiaoyu. She knew her. Xiao Xiaoyu. She has a lot of clothes in her house that were made in YA. But when she remembered that Xiaoyu was Yer's friend, she gave her a cold smile and walked up the stairs. Xiaoyu was slightly embarrassed. However, she was a businesswoman and had seen all kinds of rich madams, rich young ladies, and official madams. She had experienced all kinds of tempers, and this was not the first time she had seen such a cold face. She quickly hid her embarrassment and took Xia Qian's arm to follow her up the stairs. Xia Qian mumbled softly. She's so arrogant. So what if she is beautiful? She might not be able to get married for the rest of her life. Xiaoyu patted Yer's arm. Don't be so narrow-minded. Don't be so petty, okay? Think about it. When you become a host in the future, you will meet all kinds of weird people. You can't possibly criticize all of them, right? Okay. Take a step back. I understand. Yer's store was a small space on the first floor. One had to press the elevator or walk up the stairs to the second floor. Once the elevator opened on the second floor, one would be at the front desk. Ouyang Yin went to the front desk on the second floor. Yer was here yesterday, but he was not today. The dance studio was not small. It took up more than 1,000 square meters of space and was divided into many classrooms. The decoration was also more upscale than other dance studios in Haiqing. Nowadays, people who hired private tutors at home would come here to learn. It was said that they had hired a few famous dancers as their teaching assistants. It was impossible to hire them from outside. There was a class every half a month, and it was quite a gimmick. She could hear the sound of the teacher teaching the dance steps or practicing the basics. Ouyang Yin asked the staff about Yer's whereabouts. Almost no one could resist Ouyang Yan's pure as water smile and her polite and noble demeanor. Although her face was beautiful, it didn't make any women feel threatened. Yer just stared at Jiang Zhao without saying a word. His eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. He did not even dare to blink. If he did, he would burst into tears. Jiang Zhao rubbed his chin. Yin Yi, it's been so long. You still don't believe me? I haven't contacted her since. Just now, I couldn't get through to your phone, so I called her. Yer sneered at this moment. Jiang Zhao, who are you lying to? You even gave her your credit card. Does Ouyang Yin lack money? Calculating the expiration date of the credit card, that card was applied for in the past 2 months. You say you haven't contacted her? Huh. If you haven't contacted her, then why did you come to me with the card you gave her to show off? What did I give her a card? Jiang Zhao was also furious. These words were clearly shouted out with bulging veins. This was simply an attempt to pin a crime on him. He should have swallowed the humiliation in the past. Regardless of whether he had the other party's Dao or not, the matter was there. If he didn't make things clear then, he wouldn't be able to make things clear in the future. He could not do anything about it. But Yer said that he gave his credit card to Ouyang Yin. This was simply ridiculous. With his current relationship with the family Ouyang, it was impossible for him to apply for Ouyang Yin's own card, let alone apply for Ouyang Yin's own card. Yin Yi, you've learned how to slander people for no reason, haven't you? Yer grabbed the newly drafted package form on the table and smashed it on the ground. Am I slandering you? The card that Ouyang Yin used in front of me yesterday was your card. You are Jiang Zhao's card. You said that you wanted to lead a good life, Jiang Zhao. You were the one who said that you wanted to lead a good life and lead a new life. Ouyang Yin is pregnant now. Yi Er stomped hard on the form on the ground. She finally blinked, and with this blinking, she lost all her strength. What does her pregnancy have to do with me? Jiang Zhao grabbed Yi Er, who was venting, and held her in place. Tell me, what does her pregnancy have to do with me? What does it have to do with me? Jiang Zhao was about to go crazy because of this matter. He hadn't had a moment of peace in the past few months. When he thought about ruining the family Ouyang, he finally felt that he could vent his anger. Now that this matter had suddenly come knocking on his door, he also wanted to smash things. He also wanted to vent his anger with all his might. TMD, what did Ouyang Yan's pregnancy have to do with him? If it has nothing to do with you, then why did she go to Ninth Mansion? Huh. She said that the child she's pregnant with is yours. It's yours. It's yours. Yi Er really went all out this time. She pulled open Jiang Zhao's suit and unbuttoned the top 2 buttons on his shirt. Then she bit down on his shoulder, whimpering as she bit. It was already painful to break the skin. At this moment, Yi Er's tears dripped into the broken flesh. Jiang Zhao frowned and hissed. Yin Yi, you won't believe me for the rest of your life, right? If she says it's mine, then you'll think it's mine, right? Yi Er was trapped in Jiang Zhao's arms. The moment she let go of Jiang Zhao, she slumped back weakly. There was still some blood in her mouth. She was so angry that the lipstick on her lips had stained Jiang Zhao's shoulder. Her lips were stained with the blood from Jiang Zhao's shoulder. How am I supposed to believe you? Jiang Zhao, what about the child? What should I do? Jiang Zhao was so angry that his tall body was trembling. He reached out to grab Yi Er's shoulder and shook her forcefully. When he glared at Yi Er, his eyes were filled with anger and disappointment. I told you, it has nothing to do with me. I didn't sleep with her. How many times have I told you that I don't have any memories of that period of time? How many times have I told you that I don't remember sleeping with her? I don't feel anything at all. Yin Yi, you'll never, believe me, if I slept with you, even if we didn't do it, even if we just kissed and hugged, there's no way I wouldn't remember it at all. Why won't you believe me? Jiang Zhao was already tired of explaining. Just as he said, how many times had he said it? How many times had he said it? But Yi Er always judged him based on what other men did. In her eyes, even if a man was caught in bed, he would say that he was seduced by another woman. Even though the office door was closed, the 3 people outside could still hear the argument inside. Even though Xiao Yu was quick-witted, when she heard the argument, she went to look for the supervisor and asked her not to come to the office. The supervisor was familiar with Xiao Yu and knew that Xiao Yu and Yi Er were good friends, so she agreed to let Xiao Yu go. She even called out the person in the finance office and told her not to work for now. If anyone wanted to come to the office or finance office to look for Yi Er, the supervisor would stand at the end of the corridor and send them away. Xia Qian wondered if she should go in and persuade her. Xiao Yu pulled her back and glanced at Ouyang Yin, who was standing beside them. She saw that Ouyang Yin was still standing there elegantly with a slight smirk on her face. She looked a little smug. Smug? Smug. She wasn't mistaken. This woman had heard the argument from outside the door and looked a little smug. Originally, Xiao Yu wanted to ask Ouyang Yin to leave, but Ouyang Yin said that she and Jiang Zhao were friends. Now that she thought about it, something was wrong. If they were friends, why did Yi Er have such a reaction when she saw this woman yesterday? Xiao Yu had a lot on her mind. She wanted to ask for an explanation, but Ouyang Yin had already taken a step forward and opened the office door. Mistress, come and see. Songshu 566. Chapter 650. A word suddenly popped up in Xiao Yu's mind. She pulled Xia Qian and followed in. If this woman was really the person she was thinking of, she couldn't let this woman bully Yi Er? Jiang Zhao and Yi Er were stunned. Ouyang Yin smiled faintly. Xiao Yu and Xia Qian followed closely behind Ouyang Yin. Xiao Yu was a little shrewd, but Xia Qian was a little confused. Brother heir, you can't be so irresponsible with your words. What do you mean the child isn't yours? I've never slept with another man. Heh, Are you trying to deny it? The child is real. You can't deny it even if you want to. So, you're going to be a father. Are you happy? Yin was just like that. Her face was still dewy. With a face like hers, no one could tell that the words she said could provoke Yi Er to death. Yi Er finally understood why so many people had high blood pressure and heart disease. Some people got it from eating too much, while others got it from anger. But when his blood pressure rose, Yi Er felt a gust of cold air. He turned around and saw Jiang Zhao. He realized that this man was now surrounded by 1,000-year-old ice. It was so cold that his blood was about to freeze. He wasn't looking at him, but at Ouyang Yin. Xiaoya grabbed Ouyang Yin's clothes. Ouyang Yin stumbled and turned around. She was so frightened that her face turned pale. Her dignified demeanor suddenly disappeared. She said angrily, "What are you doing?" "What am I doing? I'm going to teach you a lesson." It wasn't that Xiaoya didn't want to hit Jiang Zhao, but this woman's words were really asking for a beating. "Qian, catch her." Xiao Qian reacted and hugged Ouyang Yin. Xiaoya took a step back, closed the door, and walked back. She raised her hand and slapped Ouyang Yin hard across the face. Yi Er knew that he had implicated the family by hitting Ouyang Yin last time. He quickly shouted, "Sister Xiaoya, don't hit her. She'll cause trouble. How dare you hit me?" Ouyang Yin wanted to retaliate, but Xiao Qian grabbed his arms and pulled him into her embrace. He wanted to extend his leg, but Xiaoya took a step back. Xiaoya did not listen to Yi Er, but Ouyang Yin pulled back his leg and slapped her again. "Go away. Go and say it. Saying that I, Xiaoya Qiu, hit you. I want to see what kind of trouble I can cause. I hit a shameless third party. Let's see what kind of trouble I can cause." When she was about to give another slap, her hand was grabbed by a strong hand. Xiaoya looked at Jiang Zhao in disbelief. Jiang Zhao still had a cold expression on his face. He had always had an arrogant attitude. At this moment, the cold air around him made people tremble. "Jiang Zhao, you're still helping her at a time like this." Xiaoya was really angry and hateful. Xiao Qian was quite tired from carrying Ouyang Yin. She panted and said, "Jiang Zhao, you heartless person. What's wrong with Yi Er?" Yi Er stood rooted to the ground. When she hit Ouyang Yin the last time, he did not stop her. This time, when Xiaoya hit Ouyang Yin, he stopped her. Was it because Ouyang Yin was pregnant? She did not know when she would start to not feel heartache when facing this man. He had just said that it had nothing to do with him. The moment he turned around, he went to help that woman. Yi Er staggered a few steps back. He put his palms on the office table behind him and barely managed to steady himself. Good. Otherwise, she would not be able to give up. Jiang Zhao pulled Xiao Qian's arm away from Ouyang Yin. Ouyang Yin was very touched. "Second brother, I knew it. You can't bear to see me get hurt." As soon as she finished speaking, she was about to throw herself into Jiang Zhao's arms. However, Jiang Zhao grabbed Ouyang Yin's shoulders with both hands. A man's steps, especially those of a man as tall as Jiang Zhao, were fast and heavy. In just a few steps, he pinned Ouyang Yin against the wall. Yi Er, Xiaoya, and Xiao Qian were all stunned. At this moment, Jiang Zhao's voice and tone were not as agitated and emotional as when he was arguing with Yi Er earlier. He was so cold that it was almost emotionless. He was originally a handsome man. When he looked at her with disdain, when he was arrogant, when he was emotionless, he truly had the aura of a king. "Ouyang Yin, didn't I ask you if you wanted to die?" "Ouyang Yin, I've never hit a woman." The corners of Jiang Zhao's mouth curled up slightly. Usually, Qin Fian's smile was the most enchanting, but at this moment, Jiang Zhao's bone-chilling aura suddenly blossomed into an evil smile. It was so enchanting that it made people suffocate. Ouyang Yin was absent-minded for a moment. "Ouyang Yin, I've never hit a woman. You said that you're pregnant with my child." "Good, very good." The smile at the corners of Jiang Zhao's mouth slowly faded. His voice was almost cold as he murmured, "I want to see if it's my child. I've said before that I've never hit a woman. I'm not hitting a woman. I just want to see if it's my child." Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao's expression and felt her heart tremble. She didn't know what Jiang Zhao wanted to do, but she felt that Jiang Zhao wanted to kill someone and was about to go over. Jiang Zhao bent his long leg and slammed it forcefully into Ouyang Yan's abdomen. Other than Ouyang Yan's painful screams, no one in the room could be heard. Yi suddenly covered her mouth. Her eyes widened in shock, and she didn't even dare to scream. Xiaqian was so frightened that she burrowed into Xiao Ye's arms to hide. Jiang Zhao's eyes were almost bloodshot, but he was like a calm madman. He looked at Ouyang Yan, whose face had already turned pale, and said fiercely, "When the baby comes out later, I'll take it for a DNA test. If it's mine, Jiang Zhao, you can use it as evidence and sue me for raping you. You can even send me to prison." As he said this, he lifted his long leg again and slammed it against Ouyang Yan's abdomen. Ouyang Yan felt a piercing pain in her lower abdomen. She saw that the man was actually looking at her with a calm gaze. He was so focused on her, but he was so cold, as if he was looking at a stranger. Yi Er's hand, which was supporting herself on the table, started to tremble. A woman's strength couldn't be compared to a man's. The last time she had hit Ouyang Yan, she had only hit her face. But Jiang Zhao was different. His coldness was slowly entwined with a murderous aura. It wasn't as if Yi had never angered Jiang Zhao before. She knew that he had such a side to him. He was so fierce that he wasn't afraid of anything and was so arrogant that he considered everyone beneath him. He wasn't the same Jiang Zhao that the outside world saw. She had been punished by him and knew how merciless he could be. Yi and Xiaoya rushed over at almost the same time and pulled Jiang Zhao back. Xiaoya knew that the situation had reached a point of no return. Yi was definitely in a state of confusion. Xiaoya squatted down and hugged Jiang Zhao's leg. She wanted to lift it up again, but the man's muscles were as hard as steel. She couldn't control it on her own. She turned her head and shouted at Xiaqian, who was already scared out of her wits. "Xiaqian, what are you doing? Come and help." Xiaqian panicked, but she had to listen to Xiaoya. She ran over and imitated Xiaoya. She squatted down and stood behind Jiang Zhao. She hugged his leg. Yi stood on the other side of Jiang Zhao. She was originally holding onto his arm, but now she wrapped her arm around his neck. "Ah, Zhao Zhao." She tried to use the name that would soften his heart the most to wake him up. "Ah, Zhao, don't do this. Don't do this. Someone will die. Don't do this." At this moment, Jiang Zhao was like an out-of-control beast in Yi eyes. He wouldn't listen to any advice. He was a beast that wanted to achieve his own goals. He wanted to get rid of the people who were invading his territory. "Ah, Zhao, someone will die." Yi was so scared that she kept repeating herself. Not to mention that Ouyang Yan was pregnant. Even if she was a normal woman, how could she stand being treated with such force by a man? Jiang Zhao was still holding onto Ouyang Yan's shoulder. He said coldly, "Is your stomach starting to hurt? Is there anything that is leaking out? If it does, I'll get a forensic doctor to come over and examine it." Yi's lips were trembling. She felt her entire body turn cold. She knew that Ouyang Yan must be feeling cold as well. Ouyang Yan's lips started to turn pale. Beads of sweat formed on her forehead. Her tears had been flowing for a long time, but they didn't move the man. She gritted her teeth and said hatefully, "Jiang Zhao, you beast." Jiang Zhao's gaze was cold. "Yes, I'm a beast. Is there anything leaking out?" As he spoke, his legs started to struggle again. Xiaoya and Xiaqian were girls after all. Even though they were using all their strength, they still felt that fighting against this man was simply courting death. Xiaoya and Xiaqian wrapped their arms around Jiang Zhao's leg. They used one hand to hold onto their other wrist tightly. Their wrists were red and painful from the pulling. Xiaoya looked up. "Yi, hurry up and call an ambulance. There's the smell of blood. Hurry." After Yi came back to her senses, she suddenly let go of Jiang Zhao. She staggered to the desk and started to dial 120. Jiang Zhao smiled. "Very good, it's leaking out." He loosened his grip on Ouyang Yan's shoulder. His shoulders drooped weakly. It was as if he had used up all his strength just now. At this moment, he couldn't muster up any strength. Xiaoya realized that something was amiss. She immediately stood up and called out to Xia Qian. "Qian, don't stand behind him. Be careful not to crush you." Jiang Zhao rubbed his forehead, his shoulders drooped, and his eyes wandered around. When he saw the sofa, He walked over weakly and sat down. He leaned back, raised his head, and said softly, "Very good. Get someone to appraise it." Xia Qian was so frightened by Jiang Zhao that she didn't say a word. It was as if she had lost the ability to speak. Even though Xiaoya had been through a lot, she turned around to support Ouyang Yin. "Let me help you over to the sofa. The ambulance will be here soon." Ouyang Yin clutched his stomach and stared at Xiaoya with hatred. "You will all suffer retribution." Xiaoya didn't argue. "Yes, you're right. We will all suffer retribution. Don't get agitated." Jiang Zhao sat on the sofa without saying a word. He just leaned back with his head tilted up and his eyes closed. He seemed to be resting and ignored everyone. Yi didn't dare to leave. Xiaoya and Xia Qian took Ouyang Yin to the hospital. Ouyang Yin had a dilation and was transferred to the ward. Xiaoya gave the doctor a red packet and took the embryo sac. She also bribed the doctor to keep it and get the DNA report done. Xia Qian didn't understand. "Sis, if this embryo sac has nothing to do with Jiang Zhao, then if this woman sues Jiang Zhao, will Jiang Zhao's responsibility be lighter?" In Xia Qian's eyes, this was a legal society. Jiang Zhao's actions were already considered intentional harm. He used violence to cause a pregnant woman to miscarry. This was no longer a simple dispute, as simple as a slap to the face. Xiaoya thought about the people coming and going, the women going in and out of the surgeries, and she felt a little emotional. Women did not know how to protect themselves. It was the biggest mistake to have a child with a man who did not love them. After getting pregnant, they came to be a prostitute and scolded the man for being irresponsible. Had they reflected on themselves and realized that they did not love themselves enough? Wouldn't Ouyang Yin be even more foolish? "Sis." Xia Qian looked at Xiaoya, who was in a daze, and called out again. "Qian, remember this. When you have a boyfriend in the future, the first thing you need to do is not to learn how to love him, but to learn how to prevent pregnancy." "Sis, you're so annoying." Xia Qian didn't have a boyfriend yet. When Xiaoya said this, she couldn't help but feel uncomfortable and embarrassed. A powerful novel. Xinwu 799. Chapter 651. Xiaoya held Xia Qian's hand. Her own hand was not as warm as Xia Qian's and was very cold. She patted her sister's hand and said with some concern, Qian, I'm not joking. There are too many uncertainties in this society. If you meet a man you like and sleep with him, even if you change boyfriends every year, break up, fall in love, sleep with him again, break up with him again, it's not that you don't love yourself. But if you're so stupid that you don't know how to use contraceptives and frequently enter the operating room, then you really don't love yourself. The simplest thing in human society is to make babies. When a man and a woman get together, it's an instinct to reproduce. It's a dream for a woman to use a child to tie a man down. Having children isn't a big deal. Do you understand? Xia Qian knew that Xiaoyu was serious and also knew that she was doing it for her own good. She nodded obediently and said, Sis, what's the point of keeping the embryo sac? Xiaoyu said, I'm worried that if the embryo sac goes missing, Jiang Zhao will be bitten by the Ouyang Yin. If that happens, Yi will be in big trouble. This Ouyang Yin is really something. She's not Jiang Zhao's child, and yet she dares to anger Yi so righteously. She's obviously trying to anger Yi to death. Why would Jiang Zhao touch her? Jiang Zhao is a good person. He definitely wouldn't do anything to hurt Yi. Xia Qian couldn't help but feel indignant. Are you so sure that Jiang Zhao didn't touch the Ouyang Yin? Xiaoyu smiled faintly. Then aren't you killing Jiang Zhao by keeping the embryo sac? If Jiang Zhao touched the Ouyang Yin, would he still be like that? Xia Qian got angrier as she spoke. Even a vicious tiger won't eat its cubs. Xiaoyu patted Xia Qian's back. That's why I told you that women need to know how to use contraceptives. Can't you see it today? Xia Qian was confused. See what? Let's not talk about whether what Jiang Zhao said outside the door to defend himself was true. The Ouyang Yin's appearance and encounter proves one thing. What's the outcome? Xiaoyu took a deep breath. It proves that even if the child in Ouyang Yin's belly is Jiang Zhao's, Jiang Zhao won't want it. Xia Qian was still wondering why the child was Jiang Zhao's. Xiaoyu smiled and said, There are many ways to test for DNA. You're in the media industry, so you're familiar with many fields. Even if the child hasn't been born, we can still draw the amniotic fluid. There's no need for an abortion at all. But Jiang Zhao's decisiveness is not just to vent his anger, but because he wants to. At this point, Xiaoyu paused and took a deep, trembling breath. Cut the weeds and dig up the roots. Xia Qian covered her mouth and exclaimed, "Oh my God!" But sister, Jiang Zhao said that if the child is his, we will ask Ouyang Yin to sue him. What should we do? It means that even if Jiang Zhao goes to jail, he won't be with Ouyang Yin over a child. Do you understand? Xia Qian was extremely anxious. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what should we do if Ouyang Yin sues him? That's why I bribed the doctor to change the test results if necessary. Sister, how could you do such a thing? Don't worry, I'm 98% sure that the child isn't Jiang Zhao's. But Jiang Zhao is being too cruel by doing this for the sake of that 2% uncertainty. Xiaoyu looked at the wall opposite her. Xia Qian, don't ever provoke a man like Jiang Zhao in the future. He's too cruel and vicious. Xia Qian seemed to understand some of it and tried to comprehend it for a while. When she couldn't understand, she looked at Xiaoyu quietly. The two of them sat in a row outside the corridor filled with strong antiseptic. Xia Qian felt that Xiaoyu was very sad today. The two of them snuggled together and sat on a stool outside Ouyang Yan's ward. A series of hurried footsteps could be heard. The two of them turned their heads to take a look. There was no one in High City that they didn't know. Ouyang Sheng was being supported by someone as he hurriedly walked in their direction. Yi Er accompanied Jiang Zhao, who was so quiet that he didn't say a word. She was afraid. Zhao. She called him many times, but he didn't respond. After a while, his thin lips finally parted and he said, "I'm so tired." Then he sighed again. "I'm so tired." The man-sitting posture didn't change. His eyes didn't open, and his eyelashes were closed and trembling slightly. Yi Er squatted on the floor and rested her elbows on the floor. She rested her head on Jiang Zhao's lap and rested her head on his forearm. Hearing Jiang Zhao say that he was tired, her heart felt like it was being twisted. She really wanted him to speak so that he wouldn't suffocate. However, the few words that came out of his mouth were like a blunt knife. It was so painful that she couldn't feel good. When he said that he was tired, there was a sense of desolation and helplessness in his voice, as if he was an old man past his prime. When he said that he was tired, there was a sense of weariness in his voice, as if he was a depressed youth. He had never shown this side of himself in front of her before. In front of her, he had always been a man who could hold up a home and support both heaven and earth. But now, he seemed like he was about to collapse. He said that he was tired. Yi Er lay on Jiang Zhao's lap and didn't get up. She lay there and felt that the muscles on his legs weren't as hard as before. She could feel his warmth. Zhao, let's be good together. No matter what the outcome is, let's be good together, okay? Jiang Zhao opened his eyes slowly and looked at the ceiling. He reached out and stroked the head on his lap. Now that she was working, she would always tidy up her hair properly and tie it into a small bun on the top of her head. When she wore a black dance training outfit and stretched her body to practice her basic skills, she looked very good. His voice was still the same. It sounded lonely, desolate, powerless, weary, and weary, but it also sounded like he was confiding in her. He spoke slowly and paused occasionally. Yin, right after just now, I realized that I wasn't 100% sure either. I know that I was drugged that day, but I also know that there are not only knockout drugs in this world, there are also hallucinogens and many other strange things. Just like many young people who are high and do many irreversible things after being drugged, they can't remember it the next day. I'm not sure what kind of drug I was drugged with. I only know that I don't have any memory. I know that I can't touch her. My heart is filled with you. How can I touch her when I'm sober? I'm not a man who pounces on women whenever he sees one. But she's a prosecutor. Even if she's lying, her gaze is so firm that no one could see through her. She's so confident. Yinyi, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Yi Er lay on Jiang Zhao's lap, her slender and fair hands clutching onto Jiang Zhao's pants tightly. He said, My heart is filled with you. How can I touch her when I'm sober? Yinyi, I don't know what else I can say. I finally found out just now that I'm not sure. Maybe I touched her. Although this possibility is very small, when I think of this, I feel that I've let you down. But even if the child is mine, I won't want it. If she sues me and you want to divorce me, I'd rather go to jail than be with her. Jiang Zhao grabbed Ye's hand a little forcefully and fiercely. Yunyi, if I go to jail, I'll let it go for the rest of my life. But you know that even if I cause her to have a miscarriage today, I can't go to jail for the rest of my life. Even if you divorce me. When he paused here, Jiang Zhao closed his eyes again and let out a long breath. If I come out of jail and find out that you're with another man, I'll kill you and that man. Jiang Zhao closed his eyes and repeated, I'll kill both of you. He tightened his grip on Ye's hand. Then he opened his fingers and immediately clenched them again and tightened his grip. People love to say that dripping water could wear a stone. What about love? He didn't know when he started to fall in love with her, and he didn't know when she started to fall in love with him. He couldn't tell the time or the place. He only knew that one day he wanted to have her, and only he could have her. No one else could covet her. He even asked her not to look at anyone else. Even if she smiled when she talked about someone else, it would affect his emotions. He only needed to imagine why that person made her smile, and he would feel sour and jealous. It wasn't that he hadn't loved before. At his age, he should have seen through it all. He had always felt that he was a righteous but heartless person. He wouldn't abandon the righteousness that he valued. For example, he could protect the brotherhood between brothers. Even if he knew that he was walking this path because he wanted his family to go further, he was still willing to do so. But when it came to love, he was heartless. If the Ouyang Yin said that he was a beast, he would say that he was a beast. To the Ouyang Yin, he was a beast. But if he didn't do this, he would be a beast to Yi. He had no choice but to choose between the two. He almost never thought of choosing. He was afraid of being tortured. But he had never been a man who was afraid of being tortured. But in the past few months, he had suffered enough. Sometimes, he would even give up and think about what was wrong with him. For a man like him, he could find any kind of woman. What was so good about Yi? He was so thick-skinned to please her. Whatever she wanted to do, he would let her do it. Following a woman's wishes and doing what he liked was his demeanor. Under normal circumstances, he should get something in return. But he didn't get it. He still got her distrust and her unforgiveness. He had done something wrong, and then she confronted him. He couldn't threaten her like before. Your brother, your father, your other people. Then when she heard his threats, she would be like before. She held his arm and said, Master, you're so nice. He had been working hard to build trust. He wanted to break through. He wanted to go back to the time before that night. He only wanted to remember that she said, Jiang Zhao, I love you. He didn't need to remember the rest. He didn't need to remember it. He often thought about it. He had missed it for so long. He could make up for it in the future. Although they were living separately, their relationship was becoming more like that of a brother and sister-in-law. They didn't always try to please each other. Their lives were becoming more and more like a normal life. But the news of the Ouyang Yan's pregnancy almost interrupted all of his plans and dreams. Yi started to distrust him again. She bit him. Last time, when she caught him, his sister was in bed. She didn't hit him. This time, she bit him and didn't hesitate to make him bleed. He knew that she was desperate. He couldn't imagine how long their marriage could last. Maybe it wouldn't even take 10 days before the world turned upside down. He wasn't stupid. He knew what trouble he was about to cause. Even though the family Ouyang was starting to get tired of dealing with their debts, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. The Ouyang Yin wasn't a girl from an ordinary family. He was the main person responsible for her miscarriage. He was the perpetrator, but he would rather do that. He didn't want to suffer that kind of torment. He didn't have time to waste with the Ouyang Yin. He knew how smart she was. He also knew that she was best at psychological warfare. He could accompany her in this psychological warfare, but Yi couldn't. Yi didn't have that kind of quality. He could only cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. A thought suddenly arose in his mind. No matter if it was true or not, he had to be 100% sure that the dust would settle. He knew that he couldn't retreat. There was lava in front of him, and behind him was a cliff. He would either burn to death or fall to his death. But he couldn't just stand there and wait until he died of anxiety. Awesome novel, Shinwoo, $7.99. Chapter 652. He knew that he was not a good person. He had never thought of himself as a good person. In this world of power, money, beauty, and lust washed over his soul every day, he was unable to purify himself, and he was unwilling to be purified. If he did not act ruthlessly, in the future, either he or Yi'er would be tortured to death. At this moment, Yi'er was kneeling beside Jiang Zhao. When she heard him speak so viciously, she felt like there were worms gnawing at her heart bit by bit. Starting from the edges, they slowly gnawed at her heart. She wanted to struggle and escape, but her heart was surrounded by worms. Every time she moved, it would itch and hurt even more. Her heart was thumping wildly. After she calmed down, she couldn't help but lower her head and smile. When she raised her head to look at Jiang Zhao again, she reached out and caressed his face. Again and again, she pressed her fingertips against his jaw and massaged it. His beard was shaved clean in the morning, but sometimes she liked to see some stubble on his jaw when he woke up in the morning. That proved that they had spent another day together. Then don't go in. If you go in, you can't control me. Can you control me? Jiang Zhao opened his eyes and sat up straight. He lowered his head and was about to fly into a rage when he saw Yi'er's tears suddenly rolling down her cheeks. He saw that her eyes were red, the tip of her nose was red, and there was a trail of snot running down her nose. Her tears flowed for a while, and she sniffled. Then she opened her mouth and exhaled. When she exhaled, her lips were trembling. Actually, it wasn't her lips that were trembling, it was her jaw that was trembling when she opened her mouth. He said leisurely, "You can try." Although her tears were still flowing, she couldn't help but smile. She reached out and slapped Jiang Zhao's thigh a little angrily. Can you be more humane? So many people have been sent to prison, but they're all afraid of wasting their women's youth. They're all asking them to find another man while they're still young. You're really? Jiang Zhao pulled up the hem of Yi'er's sweater. Yi'er thought that Jiang Zhao was going to be a hooligan and was about to scold him for being a shameless jerk when Jiang Zhao covered Yi'er's nose with the hem of the sweater. He wiped the snot off the sweater and put it down. Really what? Yi'er lowered his head and saw the snot on his clothes. He grimaced in disgust and shouted angrily, "Seriously? But, reason, you." Jiang Zhao seemed to be in a better mood. "Yes, I've always been unreasonable. Who told you to beg to marry me? What are you going to do now?" Recalling that he was the one who proposed to her, Yi'er felt a little embarrassed. "I just wanted to put on airs." "What's wrong with that?" "There's no use pretending to be pretentious. She's still my wife, Jiang Zhao." Ouyang Yan's word defied the silence written on the corridor. Ouyang Sheng was furious. Go, go, go. Go and investigate. Where did the baby come from, and how did the miscarriage happen?" He only remembered that his granddaughter had called him a while ago and said that she had been admitted to the hospital. After being given anesthetics, she had fallen asleep, and he couldn't get anything out of her. Ouyang Sheng was furious, and his voice wasn't soft. Xiaoya and Xia Qian, who were sitting in the corridor, heard him clearly. Ouyang Yin didn't wake up. Ouyang Sheng heard from the nurse that she and Xia Qian had sent Ouyang Yin to the hospital and insisted on detaining her. Xiaoya wasn't anxious. It was good that at least Ouyang Sheng didn't know that his granddaughter was pregnant. He should let Yi'er know about it, regardless of whether it was worth it or not. Actually, Xia Qian's courage wasn't small, but she wasn't that big either. Although she always made mistakes, she was relatively honest in her studies. She didn't have the bad habits a child who got into fights, so she felt that it was a big deal that she was detained by Ouyang Sheng. "Sis, what should we do? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid that the old man will eat us up?" Losing Xia Qian and Haiqing isn't a big deal, but what about the disappearance of the famous designer, Xiao Yiqiu? Moreover, isn't this a public hospital where people come and go? Would he dare to stab me in the back in front of everyone? Xiaoya casually brushed her hair behind her ear. "Sis, why are you so calm?" Xia Qian realized that her legs were trembling. That old man didn't look like a good person. He looked fierce and fierce. Moreover, Wasn't the fourth master of Haiqing very powerful? This was really terrible. Xiaoya burst out laughing. You said it? This is a lawful society. Xiaoqian looked at Xiaoya and couldn't help but spit. The men brought by the fourth master were all in black suits. Legend had it that the men in black suits were all from the underworld. The people in the underworld would often ask people to eat bullets. This was how it was portrayed in Hong Kong movies. Moreover, the things that Jiang Zhao did today were not things that people from a lawful society should do. What her sister did was even worse. Giving red packets to the hospital was not allowed, right? Giving money to the doctor to do a private DNA test without the consent of the embryo's owner and without the police's permission was not allowed, right? Also, threatening to change the test results was not allowed, right? She did so many things in a few hours that were not allowed, and she still had the cheek to say that it was a lawful society. Xia Qian spat again. Xiaoya, you've really learned something. What nonsense are you spouting? Xiaoya folded her arms and leaned back against the wall. She spat and said leisurely, Do you have eggs? Xia Qian almost gritted her teeth. Was this how an older sister should behave? She was so anxious. The emperor was not anxious, but the eunuch was anxious. Who was a eunuch? She straightened her body and tilted her chin. I have eggs. Where are they? Here, Xia Qian pointed at her face. My face, you have eggs, but not your face. Xiaoya chuckled. Then what eggs do I have? You have eggs, get lost. Xia Qian was petrified. As a member of society with a sense of justice, facing such a cold-blooded person who did not care about worldly affairs, what else could she do but be petrified? After talking for so long, this cold-blooded person refused to say anything. What should she do? She spouted a bunch of eggs. She really had to hand it to her. Sister, if you're so good at ting, why didn't you learn how to be a host? Why did you learn fashion design? Xiaoya was still laughing, but at this moment, her face darkened and her nonsense turned into a scream. Xia Qian, why don't you take care of yourself? Why do you care so much about me? Huh? Aren't you embarrassed? Other students with good grades find their own internships. What about you? You got in through the back door. Are you embarrassed? If you want to get in through the back door, then go to me or your boyfriend. You actually went to your friend's husband to get in through the back door. You still have a nerve to say that you have a face? Where's your face? Why didn't I notice it? Huh? Yo, Xiaoya, you've learned something new. Just as the two of them were about to start a war of words, the door to the ward opened. A man in a black suit came out and shouted, What are you arguing about? You're disturbing the patient's rest. F*CKU. Xiaoya's heart was filled with anger. She stood up and shouted back, Who's F*King Noisy? Is your voice louder or mine? Xia Qian realized that something was wrong with Xiaoya and immediately went over to pull her back. Sis, let's stop arguing. Xiaoya pushed Xia Qian away. Are you a coward? Can't you tell who's pulling who in a fight? You're pulling me because you want me to get beaten up, aren't you? The originally quiet corridor of the hospital became louder and louder. It was so loud that Ouyang Sheng stood at the door and glared at Xiaoya. My granddaughter hasn't woken up yet. Be quiet. Xiaoya liked to dress enchanting and sexy. The weather in the middle of February was not too cold. She wore a tight short skirt and a woolen coat. Her high heels were on her feet, and the woolen coat was open. Her figure was wrapped in a protruding front and back. Her appearance was originally cold and elegant. At this time, her arms were crossed in front of her chest, and she was leaning. She looked a little cold. She slanted her body and sneered contemptuously. Her face was too enchanting and beautiful. What a joke. How much do I earn in a day to stay here and wait for your granddaughter to wake up? It's good enough that I didn't ask you to pay for my losses. You said that we should ask her clearly when she wakes up? Then we can leave. I'm just making some noise to wake her up faster. What? She doesn't know how to be grateful when she wakes up faster? Xiaoya's words were indeed quite harsh and aggressive. It wasn't that she hadn't done business with the family Ouyang before. Ouyang Hai and his wife, and I Jun's, dresses were all made by her. It wasn't that she didn't want to make money peacefully, but she felt that it was bad luck to sit here and wait for Ouyang Yan to wake up. Moreover, Ouyang face was really annoying. Perhaps she hated the mistress who interfered in her friend's marriage, so she hated Ouyang as well. Ouyang had been proud and arrogant all his life. Who among the younger generation in Haicheng didn't call him fourth master? Even though Jiang Zhao didn't call him fourth master anymore, he still had to call him fourth master hypocritically or mockingly. But this woman, a woman who sold clothes, dared to challenge him like this. Was she tired of living? Her words and tone were full of provocation. Xiaoya looked at Ouyang changes. An old man could actually look so healthy. She heard that Ouyang was 70 years old, but he didn't look like that at all. His face was flushed red and full of murderous intent. Xiaoya held her breath and looked at Ouyang with a provocative gaze. Xia Qian's heart was in her throat. She really hadn't seen much of the world. She had a heavy heart and instinctively retreated when she felt danger. This was human nature. There wasn't anything wrong with it. She just felt that Ouyang wasn't easy to get along with, and that she should stay away from him and not offend him. Sis, let's go sit for a while. Sit for what? My butt is going to grow calluses from sitting. Forget it, let's go. Xiaoya turned around and grabbed Xia Qian's hand. The sound of her high heels was crisp, loud, and arrogant. Ouyang pointed at Xiaoya's back. Rebel, get her back. I'd like to see if she dares to walk out of this floor without my permission today. Xiaoya didn't stop walking. She held Xia Qian's hand tightly and said in a low voice, Qian, let me tell you, we have to go. If Ouyang wakes up and tells us what happened today, we're done for. You've seen how Ouyang is. We can't afford to offend him. Xia Qian broke out in cold sweat. Sis, I'm scared. Don't worry, I'm here. The man in the black suit walked quickly and quickly caught up with Xiaoya and Xia Qian. He turned around in front of them and raised his arm to block their way. Xiaoya asked calmly, What do you want? Illegal detention? Miss Qiu, don't make things difficult for us. Xiaoya touched her face and pretended to be sad. She looked up at the corner to see if there were any cameras. She then looked around and snorted with a smile. You guys are so funny. This is a public hospital. There are so many people coming and going. There are so many witnesses, doctors, nurses, and surveillance cameras. Are you going to use force on me in broad daylight? Beauty novel, Xinwu 799. Chapter 653. Miss Qiu, we're just asking you to go back. When Miss Sun wakes up, she'll naturally be able to leave. Xiaoya naturally understood that Ouyang wasn't going to reason with her. Then let my sister go. Xia Qian was shocked, and her heart was filled with fear. No, sis, I'll stay here with you. What are you doing here? Is there meat to eat? Does the disinfectant smell good? Xiaoya glared at Xia Qian. Jiang Zhao heaved a sigh of relief. When he stood up, he lifted Yi Er. You were the one who unbuttoned my shirt. Button it up for me. Yi Er tugged at Jiang Zhao's collar again. Let me see if you need a dress your wound. Jiang Zhao pushed Yi Er's hand away and buttoned up his own shirt. He smiled, it's fine. I'll go to the hospital to get a rabies vaccine later. Yi Er's lips twitched. This guy really held a grudge. She had scolded him the last time, and now he was returning the favor. Okay. Go get it. Get done. Jiang Zhao buttoned up his shirt and stretched his neck. When he moved his shoulders, it really did hurt. He looked at the woman's red eyes and reached out to flick her brow. Rabies vaccines are very expensive. Do you think it's easy to earn your husband's money? I wake up early and work late every day. I have to endure the anger of my boss and worry about my subordinates messing around. I have to live in fear just to earn a little salary. You're actually asking me to waste my money on vaccinations? Do you even know how to run a household? Yi Er hissed in pain, but she still covered her brow and smiled at Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao, you're so bad. You're always teasing me. If I didn't tease you, who would I tease? If she wasn't my wife, I wouldn't even bother teasing her. I wouldn't even bother wasting my breath talking to her. You don't know what's good for you. Yi Er knew that if they were to talk nonsense, there was no way she would be able to out-talk Jiang Zhao. Just as she was about to admit defeat and call a truce, Jiang Zhao reached out and grabbed the back of her head. With a gentle tug, he brought her in front of him. On her forehead, he pressed his lips forcefully against hers with his unique warmth. Moi, I'll go to the hospital to have a look. It's not right to leave Xiaoya and Xiaqian there. I think Ouyang Sheng is also there now. I'll go with you. Don't go. Ouyang, Yin is injured now. Ouyang Sheng must be very angry. It's not good to have another target if you go. I'll calm down when you're not here. To Yi Er's relief, after that incident, Jiang Zhao never called Ouyang Yin Yun Yun. She really shouldn't have gone. With her around, he was always impulsive. I'm not going. You go. When Yi Er said this, her voice was calm, and there was a hint of a smile on her face. When she reached out to stroke the collar of Jiang Zhao's suit, it was soft and gentle. It was as if she was steadily stroking his heart. Jiang Zhao suddenly realized that Yi Er had grown up. She had grown up all of a sudden. Just as Jiang Zhao's car drove into the public hospital, a flashy silver Bugatti also drove into the hospital. At that time, the ambulance was in a hurry, and he didn't think of asking Yi Er to call a private hospital. However, Zhuang Yiqin drove his own car over. He probably heard the news halfway and rushed over without even changing his car. It seemed like he was a little late. Zhuang Yiqin sat in the car. Li Yong, who was in his 40s, had just parked the car. He turned his head and said, "Young master, I'll go up. You should wait in the car." Zhuang Yiqin rubbed his chin and was a little annoyed. "Let's go up together. I don't believe that Ouyang Sheng really dares to detain people." Li Yong was a little worried. "Young master, it's better if you don't show up. If word gets out, it won't be good. Moreover, this is a public hospital. There are so many people coming and going. It's too eye-catching." At this moment, Zhuang Yiqin's phone rang. Jiang Zhao's calm voice came from the phone. "Yiqin, you go back first. I'll go up." Zhuang Yiqin's jaw dropped. "Brother Zhao, Ouyang Sheng is not someone to be trifled with. I don't care about anything else. Xiu Xiaoya is now my woman. Today's incident was because of your family. I want a guarantee from you." How could Jiang Zhao not hear Zhuang Yiqin's dissatisfaction? At this time, he was not in the mood to bargain with Zhuang Yiqin. As a man, he had to take responsibility. Moreover, Zhuang Yiqin was telling the truth. Today's incident was because of his family. It was all thanks to Qiu Xiaoya and Xiaqian. Otherwise, it would have been a pot of rotten porridge. Zhuang Yiqin should be responsible for the entire incident. "Okay, I promise she'll be fine. I'll wait downstairs for a while. If she doesn't come down in 20 minutes, I'll go up." Zhuang Yiqin took a deep breath and said calmly, "I'll wait for your news." "I'm hanging up." Jiang Zhao turned off the engine and hung up the phone. He opened the door and got out of the car. The man in the black suit refused to let Xia Qian go first. Xiaoya was in a deadlock with the man. Even though the inpatient area was quiet and Ouyang Sheng was famous, it still attracted the attention of some curious people. Jiang Zhao got out of the elevator and stood at the door. He stretched his back and walked towards Ouyang Yan's room in the inpatient area. When Xia Qian saw Jiang Zhao, she hugged Xiaoya's arm in surprise. She didn't care whether they were in the inpatient area or not. She screamed excitedly, "Sister, Jiang Zhao is here." Xiaoya only glanced at him and was slightly disappointed. Ouyang Sheng, who was sitting beside Ouyang Yan's bed, heard Xia Qian's screams and stood up immediately. Ouyang Sheng walked quickly to the door and stretched his neck to take a peek. He saw Jiang Zhao greeting his men, so he went over. "Sir." Although Jiang Zhao had done something to hurt Ouyang Yan, he did not have the slightest intention of pleasing Ouyang Sheng. The way he addressed Ouyang Sheng was very stiff. Ouyang Sheng always felt unhappy when Jiang Zhao addressed him as sir. He said sarcastically, "Mayor Jiang, when you address me as sir, you are picking up the bad habits of the underworld. It's all right. It's just a form of address." Jiang Zhao stopped exchanging pleasantries with Ouyang Sheng. "I was present at the scene today. At that time, I had to appease Yi, so I asked Miss Qiu and the others to send the Ouyang Sheng inspectors over. I'm done with my work now, so I came over to replace them." Ouyang Sheng was unhappy with Jiang Zhao's disrespect. He looked at Qiu and Xiaoya. "You can only leave after Yun Yun wakes up." Jiang Zhao was good at dealing with people. It was just like what he had told Yi. When Yi was not around, he would be calmer. He had to think of the bigger picture, and when he confronts someone, he will know when to stop. Unknowingly, Yi had become his weakness. Dong Shuebing smiled. Since you think Miss Chiu is better here, I will leave first. Ouyang Sheng knew when to step down. If Jiang Zhao wanted to leave, it would not be as easy as detaining a young girl. Since this matter was related to Jiang Zhao, it would be better for Jiang Zhao to stay here than for Xiaoya. You can leave now. Qiu Xiaoya only said thank you to Jiang Zhao and left with Xia Qian in her high heels. Ouyang Sheng turned around and led the way. When they reached Ouyang Yan's ward, he asked the staff to close the door. What happened? You have to wait until O Jianan wakes up before asking. If not, you will find my one-sided story boring. Jiang Zhao pulled out a stool and sat down. He took out his phone and sent a message. She is downstairs. Did you see her? Thank you. When Jiang Zhao saw this message, he couldn't help but laugh. Zhuang Yichen had all the morals that a person should have. When they were together, what they liked the most was an equal exchange where they didn't owe each other anything. The words, thank you, sounded very strange. Ouyang Xing knew that ever since that night at the family Ouyang's house, Jiang Zhao had always treated him like this. Jiang Zhao's attitude was known to Qin Rongfang, but Qin Rongfang did not care. This kind of junior did not even know how to respect his elders. How could he be young and promising? Jiang Zhao, don't think that I can't teach you a lesson. Jiang Zhao looked up and stared blankly at Ouyang Sheng for a while. Then he suddenly laughed. Ha! I've been very sick recently. I need to be treated. Ouyang Sheng was speechless. Xiaoyu went downstairs. The ambulance had not arrived yet. She pulled Xia Qian and was about to call a taxi when she saw a familiar silver light at the exit of the parking lot. Bugatti? Zhuang Yichen's car. It was not that she had sharp eyes, but Zhuang Yichen did not need to be restrained like Jiang Zhao. He was not frugal when it came to things. His car was the same. Rich young men in Haicheng liked to buy limited edition cars to show off their wealth. Xiaoya often said that Zhuang Yichen liked to show off. He obviously wanted to show off, but he insisted that he was low-key. If he really wanted to keep a low profile, he should learn from Jiang Zhao and park a 4 to 5 million yuan sport car in a garage. Occasionally, he would drive the car assigned to him. For personal matters, he would drive a black Audi A8 that cost about 2 million yuan. He should not care about the color, the model, the style, and what was popular. However, when did Zhuang Yichen pay attention to these things? Although he said he wanted to keep a low profile, when he spent money and bought things, he was like Qin Fian. He was as high profile as he could be. That's right, the woman kept a low profile. She had never gone out with him for a proper meal. That was only for her. Every time she held a press conference, he would insist on bringing a woman to support her. It was as if he was afraid that she did not know about his taste and charm. Xiaoya stomped her foot. She was angry. She had to find a man and get married. I don't want to fool around with him anymore. Zhuang Yichen, who was sitting in the car, had a ruthless look on his face. He leaned his head back and pressed his forehead. Uncle Li, turn off Xiaoya's custom-made products. Let her have some debts. Young master? Li Yong was so shocked that he almost stepped on the brakes. He thought he had heard wrongly. Zhuang Yichen could be said to be brought up by him. He had never taken advantage of a woman, let alone treat her unfairly. How could he take back what he had given out? He must have heard wrongly. Really? She doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. She thinks that just because she has some ability, she can offend anyone and is not afraid of anyone. She is too complacent and does not know how to seek advantages and avoid disadvantages. This is not good for her. She must be taught a lesson. Otherwise, she might even lose her life like today. This lesson should be enough for her to reflect on. But isn't everything fine now? She came out unscathed. If it was someone else, no one would dare to speak to Zhuang Yichen like this. But this person was Li Yong. He was someone whom Zhuang Yichen respected. So, it was not strange for him to explain patiently. That's because Jiang Zhao had gone, and I also know about it. So, she should be fine today. Otherwise, with Ouyang Sheng's arrogant and conceited character, how can he not teach his enemy a lesson when he knows about it? If that's the case, Ouyang Sheng will also close down her shop. She might not have any debts, but it's hard to say if she will be hurt. Li Yong immediately understood. I will get it done. Thank you for your hard work. Air was worried. Although she was calm when Jiang Zhao left, She thought about him going to the hospital and Yin losing her child. What will happen? Jiang Zhao said that Ouyang Sheng should have gone to the hospital. Would his father-in-law whip him again this time? Beauty novel Hong Cha 866. Chapter 654. Yi reached out and grabbed the sweater over her heart. She paced back and forth anxiously in the office, feeling exceptionally frustrated. When she exhaled, she had already grabbed her thin jacket, opened the office door, and ran out. Yi asked Xiaoya where Ouyang Yin was staying. She repeatedly assured Xiaoya that she wasn't going to cause trouble, but she was worried that Jiang Zhao would be alone. Only then did Xiaoya tell her the address. When Yi entered the ward, Jiang Zhao's face darkened. "What are you doing here?" "I came to take a look." Yi was a little timid. When she saw Ouyang Sheng, she knew that she was a burden and that she wasn't needed here. But when she saw that Jiang Zhao was unharmed, she felt relieved. Not long after Yi arrived, Ouyang Yin woke up. Jiang Zhao thought about it. With Yi around, at least she could see his attitude towards Ouyang Yin clearly. She wouldn't let her imagination run wild in the future. He, Jiang Zhao, could only have one wife. He would only have one for the rest of his life. He would never divorce her. His children would never become the children of a single-parent family. He held Yi's hand as they stood in the ward. Ouyang Sheng looked at Jiang Zhao's indifferent expression and felt annoyed. He called the nurse over to put a pillow under Ouyang Yin's head. Yi was a little nervous, but she thought that this was also a good thing. Now that they had gotten into trouble, it was their first time facing it together. No matter what punishment Jiang Zhao would receive, she would stay by his side and watch over him. Looking at Ouyang Yin's pale face, Yi couldn't bear it. But this thought only lasted for a moment. If Ouyang Yin hadn't plotted against Jiang Zhao and provoked her, how could Jiang Zhao be so ruthless? Serve him right. When these two words suddenly popped up in Yi's mind, she was dumbfounded. It turned out that he was so vicious. The Ouyang Yin deserved it, but Jiang Zhao suffered. Ouyang Sheng patted Ouyang Yin's shoulder with heartache and hatred. Yun, tell Grandpa what happened. Grandpa will fight to the death for you." Jiang Zhao patted the back of Yi's hand and said calmly, "Today." Ouyang Yin suddenly looked at Ouyang Sheng and opened her mouth, interrupting Jiang Zhao. Her voice was as soft as a mosquito's, but it was still heard clearly by everyone in the quiet environment. "Grandfather." "Yes, I was careless. I went to Yunya's place today to look for trouble, but she didn't show up. I lost my temper and bumped into the table. That's why I ended up like this." Yi was stunned. Jiang Zhao is astonished. Ouyang Sheng was annoyed. "Why'd you go look for her for no reason?" "It's my fault. What happened to the child?" Ouyang Sheng just remembered that he still didn't know. He was afraid that Jiang Zhao would hear him, so he whispered into Ouyang Yin's ear. Ouyang Yin slowly closed her eyes and let out a long sigh. "Don't ask anymore, Grandpa." Jiang Zhao and Yi's feelings were so complicated that they couldn't get over it. Logically, Ouyang Yin should hate them to death, but now she was trying to absolve Jiang Zhao. As long as Ouyang Sheng knew that Jiang Zhao was the one who did it, he would definitely sue Jiang Zhao. Yi thought that Ouyang Yin loved Jiang Zhao, so she must be worried that Jiang Zhao would go to jail, even if Jiang Zhao had killed her child. How strong was this kind of love? Yi bit her lip. She scolded herself 1,000,000 times in her heart for her earlier viciousness. Jiang Zhao didn't feel good. He didn't feel guilty at first, but now his heart was filled with guilt. He didn't want to owe this favor. He wanted to speak up, but Yi pinched him and looked at him pleadingly. Ouyang Yin looked up at Yi and Jiang Zhao indifferently. Her emotions didn't fluctuate. "Both of you can go out. I want some peace and quiet. I don't want to say anything. I hate to hear anyone talk now." Ouyang Sheng said, "Both of you can go out." Jiang Zhao pulled Yi out of the room. As soon as they went out, Ouyang Yin's clear and weak eyes suddenly became fierce. Her hands clenched into fists under the quilt. She didn't want the child in her stomach. If she lost it, then so be it. But she hated Jiang Zhao for being so heartless. She knew that Jiang Zhao must have thought that the child in her stomach could be his, so he did this to her. So it turned out that the fact that she was pregnant with his child made him want to kill her. She swore she would never let this adulterous couple off. Ouyang Yin came back to her senses. She looked at Ouyang Sheng, who had a suspicious look on his face. She looked ashamed and smiled gently. "Grandpa, don't ask me anymore, okay?" Ouyang Sheng's face turned cold. "Yun Yun, there were outsiders just now, so I couldn't embarrass you. Now you're asking Grandpa to stop asking? Whose child is it? How did it come about?" Ouyang Sheng doted on his granddaughter like his life depended on it. But he couldn't help but get angry at such an embarrassing matter. "Anyway, I'll insist that it's Jiang Zhao's." Ouyang Yin closed her eyes and rubbed her temples impatiently. "Yun Yun, you've changed a lot in the past few months." Ouyang Sheng couldn't help but feel disappointed. His granddaughter wasn't like this in the past. Now, even her expression is starting to change. Ouyang Yin opened her eyes and laughed at herself. Slowly, she said weakly, "Grandpa, I think it's good to be like this now. In the past, I had to do my best because I'm a member of the family Ouyang. I had to be dignified and generous. I was the role model of all the young ladies of the wealthy families. I had to be reserved and polite because I was an outstanding seedling in the eyes of the elders of the aristocratic families." After sighing softly, her eyes were filled with fatigue. "I also know that Jiang Zhao is good. When I left High City, I already knew that Jiang Zhao was good. I'm not blind. Among the young masters of the aristocratic families in High City, there are only a handful who are as outstanding as Jiang Zhao. How many of them can compare to him in terms of upbringing and personal qualities? I didn't want to, but I was too tired from being tied up at that time, so I wanted to go out and release myself. If I made a scene in High City, what would others think of the family Ouyang? What would Jiang Zhao think of me then? I didn't waste my time away from home for the past few years. At least I know that High City is better than Jiang Zhao. I'm still young and can get married and have children immediately." At this point, she stretched out her hand from under the blanket and covered her mouth as she sobbed. When she sobbed, her speech was choppy and incoherent. From time to time, her tone would become heavier to express her dissatisfaction and helplessness. When I came back, I even bought baby's breath and lilacs. They symbolized how deeply I loved him. I wanted to express my goodwill to him, but later I found out that he was a block of wood and didn't understand the language of flowers at all. I should have known that he didn't understand these things. I said I'd stay in his apartment, and he'd let me stay there, but I didn't expect him to move away. I thought that maybe he just wanted to take advantage of me. He's arrogant to begin with. After all these years, he should have been uncomfortable. But how many days has it been? That Yunyi jumped out. "Grandpa, I thought that he just wanted to take advantage of me and put on airs in front of me. I thought that he was waiting for me to apologize to him, but I thought that how could I apologize to him? He loves me. After interacting with me for a while, he won't be able to hold it in anymore and will come back to look for me to get back together with him." Ouyang Yin raised her head and roared. Her wrist was placed on her eyes, and her tears instantly wet the pillow. She muttered and repeated, "Oh, Yunyi. Yunyi is so shameless. She found out about my existence and jumped out to propose." "Grandpa, have you ever seen such a shameless woman? Proposing to a man, she forced Jiang Zhao to that extent in front of so many people. If she hadn't jumped out like this, would Jiang Zhao have married her? It's impossible. Even if he wanted to marry her, he would have waited for Yun Hongwei's case to be over. It would have been at least a year or two. If that was the case, wouldn't I have had a chance if I noticed something amiss in a year or two? My chances were all snatched away by Yunyi. It's all her fault. I hate her to death." Ouyang Shin couldn't help but feel sad. He reached out his old hand to wipe away the tears on Ouyang Yan's face. "Yun Yun, Grandpa told you a long time ago. Grandpa, I know. If I had known that Jiang Zhao liked a shameless person like Yunyi, I wouldn't have left Haicheng to go crazy. I would have just become a shameless lunatic like Yunyi. Yun Yun, Grandpa, don't ask me about the child. Anyway, I insist that it's Jiang Zhao's. Then can Jiang Zhao admit to this matter? I insist that it's his. He can't do anything about it." Ouyang Yin gritted her teeth. She would bribe the doctor. It was something that couldn't be done without money. On the way back to the office, Jiang Zhao received a call from Xiaoya. Xiaoya didn't mean to call Jiang Zhao. Instead, she called Yi Er first. Yi Er told her about Ouyang Yan's reaction in the hospital and felt a little upset. Xiaoya understood Yi Er a little. After all, she was young and easily moved. Moreover, Yi Er lacked love and care. She would remember anyone who treated her well. Yi Er was a woman who knew how to be grateful. At this juncture, Ouyang Yan's exoneration of Jiang Zhao had undoubtedly tipped the scales in Yi Er's heart. However, a bystander could see things clearly. If this matter had happened to her, she might have been moved as well. However, Xiaoya was surprisingly cold-blooded at this moment. Especially when she thought of Ouyang Sheng's face, she got angry. She felt that there wasn't a single good person in that nest. Yi Er couldn't make sense of it. She felt that she should give Jiang Zhao a heads up. She told him about what had happened in the hospital just now. The embryo and other things had been arranged, but she was worried that there might be a change in the situation. It was best to keep an eye on it. Jiang Zhao was slightly doubtful. Jiang Zhao, don't be silly. You and you are the ones involved. Anyone would feel guilty. After all, you were the one who lost the child. No matter if it's you or you'll definitely feel even more guilty if Ouyang Yan doesn't pursue the matter. Even if you didn't feel guilty at the start, I'm afraid you'll feel that you've let her down. But let me tell you, the child isn't yours, which is why she's so soft. When the time comes, there won't be any evidence left. Xiaoya felt that other than making a lot of money, she had also heard a lot of gossip. The secrets of those rich and powerful families were especially pleasant to hear. What kind of methods, what kind of opportunities, what kind of thoughts, what kind of strategies. It was as if she was watching a melodramatic 8 o'clock TV drama every day. It was as if she had done something bad and suddenly changed for the better. It might not necessarily be because she had discovered her conscience, but might become worse. She had to remind the young couple of this problem. Therefore, she had to remind this couple that it was very necessary to sound the alarm. After all, Jiang Zhao was a man. He hardened his heart faster than a woman. Just now, he had let his emotions get the better of him. Jiang Zhao was brought to Haiqing by her when he was 14 years old. Who had schemed against him like this? If she really indulged her son like the wives of other wealthy families, Jiang Zhao would have slept with more than 100 women by now. It wouldn't be the family Ouyang's turn to make irresponsible remarks. Not to mention that everyone knew that they had been set up, even if they really slept with him. So what? Marry? It also depended on whether she, as his mother, was willing or not. When Ouyang Yan stood in front of her and objected to Yi Er marrying into the family, she felt that even if Yi Er's family background wasn't compatible, she still couldn't accept Ouyang Yan. A good horse wouldn't turn back to graze on old grass. Not to mention that this grass had legs and ran on its own. Child? What child? She didn't understand. Qin Zhen glared at Jiang Zhao and Yi Er, not allowing them to speak. At this moment, she looked at Ouyang Sheng and beamed with joy. She was clearly a social expert. Her voice sounded respectful and a little teasing. Fourth master, you have to be gentler when you speak. My daughter-in-law is pregnant. No matter what, the child in her stomach is the Jiang family's legitimate young master or little Mississippi. If she's scared to death, that would be a big deal. Come and see. Xinwu 799. Chapter 655. Qin Zhen was a strong woman who had been through hundreds of battles. Although her marriage was not a happy one, her ex-husband did not remarry all these years and had been staying in High City. It was said that he had feelings for the army and liked this military region because he had many comrades. However, in the past 10 years, the Qin family knew that Jiang Liqing had many opportunities to be transferred to a bigger military region. Some things did not need to be said out loud. Everyone knew. Therefore, Qin Zhen was not only proud of her successful career, but also of two other things. There was a man waiting for her. She could be proud. She was very satisfied with her son. He was the second son of the Jiang family in Jiang District, the grandson of Old Master Qin in High City, the son of Commander Jiang in the military region, and the son of the chairman of Golden Investment. These were the titles that Jiang Zhao had before he was born into society. Later, more and more people would introduce Qin Zhen to others. This was Jiang Zhao's mother, Qin Zhen. When she first heard others introduce her like this, she felt that her eyes were sore. She felt that she had not lived her life in vain. Her son had become successful. She had always been proud, including when she divorced Jiang Liqing, and now when Ouyang Sheng came to her door to ask her son to take responsibility. As a businessman, face was just a decoration. Qin Zhen sat opposite Ouyang Sheng. After saying this, she felt happy. Ouyang Sheng snorted and turned to Qin Rongfang, who was sitting in the main seat. Old Qin, I'm afraid this matter can't be delayed any longer. Qin Rongfang and Ouyang Sheng have been friends for decades. It could not be compared to the life-and-death friendship with Shi Jintian and old Master Jiang, but they had done many mutually beneficial business deals. He knew that it was not appropriate for him to say what Qin Zhen could say. Even if old Master Jiang was sitting here, he would be the same as him. Sometimes, when a woman stepped forward, things were always easier to solve than a man. Qin Rongfang turned his head and handed the teacup in his hand to Uncle Wu as if he did not hear him. He said unhappily, Old Wu, what kind of weather is this? How can I drink the tea when it's cold? Go and change it to a hot one. Ouyang Sheng felt that he had been defeated. Qin Zhen reached out to Ye and waved. She smiled and said, Daughter-in-law, come to Mom. Ye was dazed for a moment. Mom? Qin Zhen's attitude towards her had always been lukewarm. Ye knew the reason behind this. It was impossible for such an aristocratic family to not mind one's birth. Although she was lukewarm, she had never deliberately made things difficult for her. When she was being attacked from both sides, her mother-in-law warmly called herself Mother. Ye recalled how Zhou Li was so angry that her father was still lying in the hospital. Tears flowed out her eyes. Jiang Zhao gave Ye a push, and Ye walked over to Qin Zhen. Qin Zhen was still seated. Other than Qin Rongfang, who was pretending to be a fool, Qin Zhen had the dignified aura of a head of the family. However, her speech was still very appropriate. Her voice was cheerful and heartwarming. She reached out to hold Ye's hand and nestled it in her palm. She was smiling more than angry, and there was even some doting. In my opinion, our family Zhao Zhao is the best. Daughter-in-law, do you agree? Ye bit her lip and nodded obediently. Qin Zhen took a piece of tissue from the small table between the guest seats. She raised her head and stretched out her arm to wipe the tears that had just rolled out of Ye's eyes. As your mother, I didn't bully you. Don't cry. If you cry, Zhao Zhao will think that I pinched you and will make trouble with me. After saying this, she should have glanced at Jiang Zhao. However, Qin Zhen glanced at Ouyang Sheng. The more Qin Zhen looked at Ouyang Sheng's uncomfortable expression, the more she felt comfortable. Mom, Jiang Zhao won't think that way. Ye was still young after all. She was afraid that her mother-in-law would misunderstand that she had instigated her husband. She would never have thought that Qin Zhen was trying to provoke Ouyang Sheng. Daughter-in-law, you were the one who begged to marry our family's Zhao Zhao back then. Qin Zhen kept calling her daughter-in-law, but usually she would call her Ye. At this time, she was begging to be married, and her tone was especially heavy. Ouyang Sheng snorted disdainfully. Ye lowered her head even more. At this time, Jiang Zhao also stopped standing. He smiled a little happily and sat down on the guest seat next to Qin Zhen. The servant came over to help Jiang Zhao pour tea. You begged to marry our family's Zhao Zhao. You must think that he is a good man and someone you can rely on, right? Mom, you're right. Ye's voice was very soft and very soft. She seemed very embarrassed and very touched. In my opinion, your conditions are not very good. As soon as Qin Zhen said this, Jiang Zhao coughed violently. Ye's face immediately turned very red. Ouyang Sheng smiled proudly. Qin Rongfang was very good at pretending to be a fool. When drinking tea, it was either cold or hot. It was either that the tea leaves were not chosen well, or that the water used was not good enough. Qin Zhen burst out laughing. But your figure's really good. I took a look. Among the daughters of the wealthy families in High City, your figure is the best. You're not the tallest, but you're not short either. Wear a pair of beautiful high heels and match our Zhao Zhao's height. Io. Qin Jin slapped her thigh and laughed with satisfaction. She raised her voice and said, "What a match." Yi Er sighed. Fortunately, her figure was not bad. Her mother-in-law liked her. She was so scared that she was about to sweat. Actually, I think that among the daughters of the wealthy families in High City, the one with the best face is the girl from the Shun family. She's going to be a disaster in the future. Yes, the one with the most character is the girl that family men brought back a few years ago. Io, oh my god, it's amazing. It's so spicy that I can't take it. Qingjin rambled on for a long time. She said so much that Yi Er felt inferior. However, she did not say which of the Ouyang Yin was the best. Qingjin looked at Yi Er and paused. She said, "Daughter-in-law, look, people say that men are either animals or animals. Why didn't our Zhao marry the girl from the Shun family? Why didn't he wait to marry the girl from family men? This thing is about fate, isn't it?" Yi Er was still obedient. She nodded. "Yes, Mom. When fate exists, you have to cherish it. Although you begged to marry our Zhao, and our Zhao dotes on you now, if you don't cherish this fate, you will pass. The most changeable thing in this world is a person's heart, especially a man's heart. I don't want to put in a good word for my son. Zhao has the bad habits that all men have. He's not special, nor is he an exception. There's no man who doesn't like beautiful women. There's always something about you that attracts him visually. I don't believe that he saw the kindness in you first, but whether he will open his heart to you in the future depends on whether you work hard. If you don't cherish him with his qualities, there will be other women who can attract him more than you to enter his life and beg to marry him. If you let go and miss this opportunity, he will live with another woman in the future. Even if you put up a brave front or trample your face under your feet and beg him to turn back, he won't look at you. I understand my son's temper. You can't give him such a chance. Do you understand?" Yi Er stared at her mother-in-law in a daze. This woman, this shrewd woman, was reminding her, sounding the alarm for her, and hinting at Ouyang Sheng with every word. Didn't her mother-in-law's words refer to the relationship between her, Ouyang Yin, and Jiang Zhao? Ouyang Yin missed it. Jiang Zhao was living with her now. Ouyang Yin used all kinds of shameless means to get Jiang Zhao again, but Jiang Zhao wouldn't turn back. Her mother-in-law was cold-blooded and ruthless in her analysis of Jiang Zhao, making Jiang Zhao cold-blooded and ruthless, but it also made her feel motivated. Her mother-in-law was supporting her to protect her marriage. The most changeable thing was a person's heart, especially a man's heart. When it came to marriage, no one was more arrogant and no one had more power. It had to be cherished. It was only now that Yi Er understood what was going on. "Sister Zhen, if you say this about me, she won't believe me in the future." Jiang Zhao was really speechless. These women's words were really harsh. They simply described him as Chun Shimmy. Whether she believes you or not, it's up to her. If she doesn't believe you, it's useless no matter how much you say. If she believes you, she can tell from your words and actions whether you treat her well. If she's a heartless woman who can't see the good in you and still chooses to leave you, if you don't want such a woman, your mother won't recognize her. Qin Zhen looked at Jiang Zhao for the first half of her words and looked at Ouyang Sheng for the second half. Then, she smiled meaningfully. Ouyang Sheng gripped the hard mahogany armrest tightly. The decoration of the main hall was too retro. The high seats were like those of the rich families in the past, offering incense for the positions of heaven, earth, monarch, parents, teachers. The smell of incense, ashes, and candles in the main hall was complex and intertwined. Jiang Zhao saw that Yi Er's back was not as stiff as before, and his heart relaxed a little. He knew that his mother was not scolding Yi Er, but he was still worried that Yi Er would think too much. Ouyang Sheng only felt that the women of the Jiang family and the Qin family were powerful. People said that men should prosper, but both times, it was the women of these two families who stood out to argue with him. Last time, it was old Madame Jiang. This time, Qin Zhen and the men of the Jiang and Qin families were all dead, so they called the women out to talk. They made him, a man, talk about trivial matters with these women. Qin Zhen, by right, you call me fourth uncle. During this time, you called me fourth master, and Jiang Zhao called me fourth master. If the Jiang and Qin families want to mess up the seniority, I don't want to interfere, but the child is miscarried. Qin Jun stroked Yi Er's abdomen and looked at Ouyang Sheng's eyes with a worried expression. She said unhappily, "Fourth uncle, I called you fourth uncle. As an elder, how can you be so vicious? My daughter-in-law is still young, and the ancestors of the Qin family are worshipped in this main hall. I don't like to hear you curse my daughter-in-law. I'm already so old, and I'm going to hold a grandson soon. You, how do we offend you?" She wanted to accuse him. Ouyang Sheng wanted to slap this noble mahogany chair. If the person talking to him today was Jiang Liqing or Qin Rongfang, it would be a contest between men. Women, they did not speak according to common sense. They were indeed villains. Add. Songshu 566. Chapter 656. The child is Jiang Zhao's. You can't just ignore this matter. In the past, you could say that you didn't have an explanation and used your power to bully others, but don't even think about it now. Jiang Zhao thought about it. Qiu Xiaoyu was indeed smarter than a fox. Her little fox must have changed to become more and more stupid. He didn't say anything. He just confronted this matter with a very cold expression. Ouyang Sheng was well known in Haicheng for doting on his granddaughter. However, Qin Rongfang's attitude of doting on his grandson was also a unique example in Haicheng. For a wealthy family like this, the main family name was very important. How could the grandson be treated the same as the grandson of the first wife? That was impossible, but Jiang Zhao could. Ever since he came to Haicheng, Qin Rongfang was in charge of everything, no matter big or small. He didn't leave anything to the grandson of the first wife. This was the status that Qin Rongfang gave Jiang Zhao. It also showed the friendship between the Jiang and Qin families. However, at this moment, Qin Rongfang wasn't protecting his granddaughter like Ouyang Sheng. He either pretended to be stupid and didn't respond. Just like now, he slapped the table beside him and shouted at Jiang Zhao, "Look at you. You still have the cheek to sit here." Jiang Zhao shrugged and said indifferently, "Why don't I go in first?" Qin Rongfang slapped the table again. "How dare you?" Ye was shocked. To be honest, they were both from wealthy families. Her family's wealthy family was too small and didn't have many connections. Moreover, her family's acting skills weren't as good as these people's. She couldn't tell if it was real or fake. She was completely immersed in the act. She was afraid that her grandfather would immediately call her father-in-law and ask him to come back and whip Jiang Zhao. Her mother-in-law held her hand. She could clearly feel the force tightening and loosening. The comforting sensation on the back of her hand indicated that she shouldn't move. "Then don't leave. Why are you so fierce? I don't owe you money." Jiang Zhao smiled. "Shameless," Qin Rongfang shouted. It was rare for Ouyang Sheng to see Qin Rongfang angry. This person was famous for being kind and courteous, and he was good at handling interpersonal relationships. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to hold the position of chairman of the Chamber of Commerce for so many years. There were some matters in Sea City that could only be solved by Qin Rongfang. He wasn't as hot-tempered as most people, and he left some leeway when doing things. When he treated people reasonably, others wouldn't dare to be rude to him. Now that he looked like he wanted to eat someone, he looked very serious. Ouyang Sheng breathed a sigh of relief. "Shame on you. Now that they're here to ask you for compensation, you're trying to hide." Ouyang Sheng felt that something was amiss. Compensation? What compensation? "Let me tell you, Jiang Zhao, don't think that just because I dote on you, don't think that you can ignore the family rules and ancestral teachings just because your surname is Jiang and not Qin. Let me tell you, half of the blood in your body is your mother's. You're also a member of the Qin family. Even if you don't want to acknowledge it, the Jiang family will never acknowledge a grandson like you. If you do something wrong, you have to admit it. If you have to pay for it, you have to pay for it. Hide? Where do you want to hide? A real man isn't afraid of doing something wrong, but you have to correct your mistakes. You can't keep making mistakes." Ouyang Sheng was finally enraged. Was this whole family trying to make him look bad? Qin Rongfang, You old man. Ouyang Sheng slammed the table and stood up. He was burning with anger. After Qin Rongfang finished scolding Jiang Zhao, he turned to look at Ouyang Sheng and put on a gentle demeanor. Oh, Ouyang, sit down. I couldn't help it and scolded him. Sit down, sit down. Yeer's heart was thumping, sometimes fast and sometimes slow. She felt that her heart wasn't her own. She couldn't stand such a scene. She was really frightened. She was afraid of any elder's words. She kept shouting in her heart, Dad, don't come over, don't come over. In Yeer's heart, as long as Jiang Liqing didn't appear today, he could scold and kneel however he wanted. Ouyang Sheng saw the change in Qin Rongfang's expression and sat down. Fourth brother, actually this matters, sigh. Ouyang Sheng let out a long sigh, looking particularly distressed and sincere. Fourth brother, I've lived to this age, and I feel that it's been too long. I can't say that I haven't made any progress. Those news a few years ago worry me so much. Look at all the big families in Haicheng. Which one of them is like me? My grandson is a homosexual. You don't even know how I survived the past few years. You've also seen Fei Yan's looks. I'm afraid that those girls in Haicheng aren't as good as him. He's so tall, and he's standing there. How can he be a homosexual? If it are the other big families in Haicheng, who will be able to stand this? Forget it. If I say this, others will think that I'm cursing their grandson to be gay. Qin Rongfang let out another long sigh. Ouyang Sheng was a little moved. Old Qin, haven't you gotten through all these things? Don't think about it anymore. There's no use thinking about it. Those years when the news first came out, I didn't even dare to step out of the house. Fourth brother. Qin Rongfang held his forehead and sighed again and again. He sighed sincerely. Those years when you guys asked me to eat together and gather together, I felt ashamed. Really, when I met an acquaintance, the kind-hearted ones would know to be considerate. But some people couldn't. They purposely asked me, and I didn't even know how to answer. Those days, I couldn't sleep well day and night. If there were other big families, who would be able to stand it? They would have been angered to death. Sai, let's not talk about it anymore. Although Qin Rongfang kept saying, Sai, let's not talk about it anymore. Sai, forget it. But he kept repeating it. If there were other big families, who would be able to stand it? My life is cheap, but I really got through it. Qin Rongfang looked at Ouyang Sheng. Ouyang Sheng hurriedly advised, Old Qin, why do you have to say that about yourself? Sai, you said that my Qin family only has this one seedling. How did I get through all this? In the past, when I went out, I was afraid that people would ask me. I was afraid that people would say that Qin Rongfang's eldest grandson was gay. But now, when a girl looks at my grandson a few more times, I have to kindly remind her, my grandson is gay. Girl, don't like him. If you like him, it'll be tough. Look at me as a grandfather. I've even become a manager. Now that people ask me about Fian, I don't feel uncomfortable at all. If he's gay, then he's gay. So what? Well, he's going to carry on the Qin family's bloodline. We'll just do artificial insemination or IVF. IVF is enough. Isn't everything else the same? Ouyang Sheng said, That's right. You're right to think like that. Don't always think of a dead end. That's right. People just can't stand it when they encounter unforeseen events. Just like after Jiang Zhao and your family's Yin girl had that thing. At first, I also felt that it would damage my prestige and image. I was afraid that if it spread out, what would I do? Now that I think about it, no matter how big this matter is, can it be bigger than Fian being gay? Don't you think so? Old Fourth? Ouyang Sheng obviously didn't know that he had been played in such a roundabout way. This old man. Qin Rongfang, you schemed against me. Qin Rongfang's expression was as indifferent as an immortal's, and his voice was modest and polite. It's not a scheme. If you ask me, this matter's really not that big. Whether the child is Jiang Zhao's or not, I won't respond to this question. I don't know if they have intimate relations, and I don't know about Yin girl's pregnancy. But no matter what the truth is, Yin girl had a miscarriage. Our Qin family and family Ouyang are family friends. Who wants you to visit? Qin Rongfang didn't care about Ouyang Sheng's bad temper. AI, what do you think Zhao Zhao should do about this matter? The most important thing is that Zhao Zhao and Yi Yada have a good relationship now. As elders, We all hope that our children and grandchildren will be happy. Yi Yatu is pregnant, and the child in her stomach is legitimate. Tell me, as elders, should we be biased? Yi Yatu is pregnant, and the child in her stomach is legitimate. Which side? Old Fourth, put yourself in his shoes. If it were you, would you be biased? Which side? Qin Rongfang, let me tell you, don't think that you can be like this just because you're sitting in the first seat of the Qin family. Qin Rongfang straightened his body and added a sense of dignity. I don't want to be like this either. We're all doing business, and harmony brings wealth. I also hope that we can live in harmony with family Ouyang for the rest of our lives, but Old Fourth, harmony brings wealth, is only one of them. There's also another thing called family harmony and prosperity. In this family, no matter if it's Jiang or Qin, no one is willing to break up. Lai Qing and Qin Jin's example, whether it's the Jiang family or the Qin family, no one wants to see a second example. Therefore, we've been teaching every child that marriage is a big deal. Playing and marriage are two different things. Qin Rongfang, you're saying things like this now. If your family's Fei Yu ends up like my family's Yun Yun, how can you still say that? Jiang Zhao's and Qin Jun's faces suddenly turned pale. Not good. This was clearly touching the old man's reverse scale. Qin Rongfang's face crumbled. His, Qin Rongfang's, granddaughter could not be discredited by others. That Fei Yan was willing to degrade himself and bring a bad reputation. On the other hand, Fei Yu was obedient and sensible. Even the least cultured servants in the family would never talk behind Fei Yu's back. How could his granddaughter be compared to Ouyang Yan? Besides, could a girl's reputation be compared to a man's reputation like Fei Yan's? Originally, he was thirsty and wanted to take a sip of tea to quench his thirst. But at this time, he was unable to calm his anger. He stood up abruptly, the veins on his forehead throbbing. He raised the teacup in his hand and smashed it on the ground. The porcelain shards flew everywhere, and the tea frothed. Qin Rongfang had always treated people well and rarely spoke ill of a tiger. But at this time, he looked at Qin Rongfang with an ashen face and said angrily, "If my family's Fei Yu dares to do such a despicable and shameless thing, I'll go to the hospital myself. I'll personally take her to the hospital to get rid of her. She dares to destroy other people's families, I'll break her legs. She still has the face to come knocking and ask others to take responsibility? I, Qin Rongfang, can never afford to lose this face in this lifetime." Jiang Zhao hurriedly stood up and strode over to support Qin Rongfang, patting his back. Qin Rongfang took a deep breath and glared at Ouyang Sheng, whose expression had changed greatly. He continued to say angrily, "Lao Si, this is the only time. If you dare to discredit my Fei Yu in front of me again, don't blame me. No, read. Old. Feelings. Attention, Hongcha 866. Chapter 657. It was rare for Qin Rongfang to be so ruthless. Jiang Zhao knew that this was not the time to add fuel to the fire. Although Qin Jun was still sitting in her original position and did not nervously support Qin Rongfang like Jiang Zhao, the smug expression on her face had disappeared and was replaced by a gloomy expression. However, at this time, she could not move. She could not let Ouyang Sheng sense her family's nervousness. At this time, Ouyang Sheng was not only angry, but also felt that his self-esteem had been greatly impacted. Although the Qin family was the most powerful family in Haiqing, because of Qin Rongfang's gentle attitude, he had never shown any fear in front of him. His self-esteem had swelled and strengthened in the process. In addition, the family Ouyang's prestige was outside, so he had never had any intention of being afraid of Qin Rongfang. However, at this time, there were 6 people in this house, and one of them was a servant. Not only were the 4 of them working together to deal with him, but Qin Rongfang actually said that he did not care about old ties. This was a hurdle that Ouyang Sheng could not cross. He suddenly felt that if he sat down now, he would never be able to raise his head in front of Qin Rongfang. However, if he continued to fight force with force, how could Qin Rongfang's methods be as gentle as they seemed on the surface? However, at this time, blood rushed to his brain rapidly. Qin Rongfang, you and I are irreconcilable. I'll keep you company. Qin Rongfang's answer was sonorous and forceful. He put his forearm on Jiang Zhao's raised arm and said to Uncle Wu, who had been standing at the side, "Old Wu, see the guest out." Ouyang Sheng was stunned from this short change of events. It was as if he had been in the human world a second ago and had gone to hell the next second. Irreconcilable with Haiqing's Qin family, he had actually pushed him to such a position. However, his face was bigger than the sky. He raised his head arrogantly, snorted, and turned to leave. After watching Ouyang Sheng leave, Qin Zhen let go of Yi Er's hand. The two of them went to support the old master, afraid that something bad would happen to him from anger. Dad, Qin Zhen brushed away Jiang Zhao's hand and helped Qin Rongfang back to the main seat. Are you better? Jiang Zhao and Yi Er stepped aside. Good. Qin Rongfang glared at Qin Zhen. I see that you're not angry at all. Dad, what are you talking about? Qin Zhen sighed. He was really an old child. He was throwing a tantrum now. Qin Rongfang snorted. Am I wrong? You and Yu Jing are childhood friends. The two of you have been good sisters since young. Even when Fian and Fei Yu were born, she made the two children call you Big Aunt. They're not allowed to call you Aunt. You are her maternal family. Now that she and the child's father are abroad, she entrusted the child to you. How can you sit still when others talk about her daughter like that? Qin Zhen laughed when she saw Qin Rongfang's expression. Dad, what are you saying? Yu Jing likes to enjoy life, so she went abroad with her younger brother to spend some time alone. She left the children at home and asked me to take care of them. I should be grateful that the two children call me Aunt instead of Aunt. Is there a difference? Why not? Then if they call me Aunt, shouldn't I represent the Qin family to take good care of the two children? Qin Rongfang was stunned for a moment. There seemed to be no difference. So, have you taken good care of them? When that old thing was talking about Fei Yu like that, you just sat there without moving. Qin Zhen smiled apologetically. Didn't I see Dad going in a battle? When Dad goes in a battle, there are thousands of troops and horses. I'm just a young girl. I don't stand out even if I go in a battle. Zhao Zhao was led astray by you. Dad, you can't say things like that. The daughter-in-law nodded and said that Jiang Zhao is good. She originally thought that she would be beaten up when she returned to the Qin residence. After a hair-raising moment, she saw her grandfather and mother-in-law bickering. This scene was very heartwarming. Yi Er tilted her head and saw Jiang Zhao staring at her. Their eyes met, and they suddenly smiled at each other. After Jiang Zhao and Yi Er left the Qin residence, they went to the hospital to visit Yin Hongwei. When they left the hospital, it was 11:30 p.m. The bridge across the river allowed one to see the mesmerizing scenery of the night. The river was full of pearls and jewels, and the riverbank was full of colorful lights. Jiang Zhao drove very slowly. Are you going to watch a movie? Are there any good movies? I don't know. I'll watch whatever there is. Jiang Zhao was in a good mood. From Yi Er's side, she could see the smile on his face. It was natural and gorgeous, revealing a relaxed and relieved look. Let's go home. I want to sleep early. The dance studio just opened not long ago, and there are many things to do every day. I want to go early tomorrow. Okay. After saying that they were going home and saying their goal, Jiang Zhao still drove very slowly. It seemed that he was doing it on purpose. He wanted to say something, but it seemed that he couldn't open his mouth. Yi Er was a little impatient. Jiang Zhao, you're driving so slowly. Don't you have to go to work tomorrow? Oh. From time to time, Jiang Zhao would glance at Yi Er, who was sitting in the passenger's seat. Yi Er would always feel uncomfortable from the seemingly unintentional but hot gaze on her. Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao answered awkwardly. Do you have something to say? No. What could I possibly have to say? You clearly have something to say. Tell me, what is it? Her hands were on the steering wheel. At this moment, she raised her right hand and clenched it into a half fist. She placed it on her lips and coughed. Yinyi, Mom wants us to lead a good life today. Do you understand? Lead a good life. As Jiang Zhao thought about it, his emotions surged. Yes, I understand. Let's lead a good life. Let's forget about the Ouyang Yin matter. Yi nodded. She had heard her mother-in-law's words. Yin Yi, what I mean is lead a good life. I don't think we should sleep in separate rooms. Do you understand? Jiang Zhao felt his face heat up. He suddenly realized that he had clearly said something extremely thick-skinned, but at this moment, his skin was surprisingly thin. He thought of an adjective. Could it be that he was as thin as a cicada's wings? Otherwise, why would it be so hot? It was so hot that his ears were burning. His neck felt like it had been burned by chili seeds. It was burning hot. He wished he could jump into the river right now. Yi was stunned for a moment. She swallowed her saliva and saw that Jiang Zhao was only looking at the road ahead. His face was slightly red. Her own face also turned red. Oh no, oh no. When they were together, they had not even blushed from embarrassment. Now, the two of them had become so pure and innocent. Or could it be that they were not pure and innocent to begin with? So a simple sentence suddenly led to other meanings and caused the two of them to misunderstand in the end. They became embarrassed the moment they misunderstood. Then their faces turned red. Jiang Zhao, isn't it good to sleep in separate rooms? Yi felt that if she said right now, okay, don't sleep in separate rooms. Let's sleep together. If she said that, she would definitely be teased. After all, she was a woman. When necessary, she should be more reserved. What's good about it? Jiang Zhao was the first to lose his composure. He raised his voice unhappily. Oh, Yi waited for Jiang Zhao to continue. Jiang Zhao thought about it. He was a man. He just wanted to sleep with his wife. What was wrong with that? Why couldn't he say it out loud? Did he become stupid after these few months of abstinence? What do you mean, Bio? Jiang Zhao was sulking in his heart, so he spoke harshly. Jiang Zhao, how dare you yell at me? Jiang Zhao stepped on the accelerator. With the help of the engine, the car quickly took off on the road. After Jiang Zhao snorted, he didn't say another word to Yi. He kept a cold expression on his face. He didn't want to talk to her. What was the point of talking to her? Once he did, the two of them would pretend to be reserved and blush. After he got out of the car, he went to the front passenger seat to open the door. After Yi got out of the car, Jiang Zhao smiled and closed the door. He pressed the remote lock, and the car was locked. He raised his arm and propped it in front of Yi. Come, hold your husband's arm. Let's go home. Yi looked at Jiang Zhao's serious expression and burst into laughter. As he wished, she held his arm and left the garage. After they entered the elevator, the door closed. The light was as bright as a mirror. Jiang Zhao looked at the image of the two of them on the door. Yi, Mom said we're really compatible. What do you think? Yi also looked at the two of them on the door. Many things had happened today, so the two of them weren't as neat and tidy as they were when they went out in the morning. Yi realized that her hair was a little messy. Because of her young age, her skin didn't look haggard, but her eyes revealed fatigue. Jiang Zhao was the same. Although he was in a well-ironed suit and looked as handsome as usual, he couldn't hide his fatigue. Only the smile on his face was exceptionally pleasing to the eye. Her mother-in-law said that if they stood together and she wore a pair of beautiful high heels, they would be really compatible. But she wasn't wearing high heels today. Were they really compatible? His eyes were overflowing with happiness and satisfaction. She was infected and smiled along with him. We're really compatible. The voice that came out of her heart was always so moving and mesmerizing. Ding! A sound was heard. In the next moment, the elevator door opened. The man and woman in the elevator were hugging each other. The woman stood on her tiptoes and hooked her arm around the man's neck. The man lowered his head and hugged the woman's waist. Their lips rubbed against each other and their teeth melted. The large hand on the woman's waist slowly lifted her jacket and burrowed into her clothes. The moment he touched the soft skin that he hadn't felt in a long time, the man's Adam's apple moved and he groaned uncontrollably. Yi suddenly felt a ball of fire run over her body and burn someone to death. Her body went limp and she snuggled into the man's arms. Her head was still tilted up, receiving the rain of kisses. They were so close together that they didn't give each other a chance to breathe. Even if she breathed out softly, it could only be poured into the man's stomach, and turned into a stronger force. It swept across the soft tongue and stole the unique fragrance that belonged to the woman. The elevator door closed again. The two of them, who were inseparable, were a little impatient. They wanted to get out of this space immediately, but neither of them could bear to let go of the other person's lips and tongue. The elevator door opened again. The man bent down slightly and reached his hands from behind the woman. He burrowed between her legs and spread them apart. He scooped her up and placed her on his waist, carrying her out of the elevator. Welfare, Shinwoo, $7.99. Chapter 658. The elevator led them all the way to the door of the living room. The corridor lights were on. The man carried the woman all the way to the door. Without even opening the door, he impatiently pressed her against the door and gestured all the way up. Yer was also anxious. She knew that she could not withstand his teasing, but she did not have the chance to speak. She wanted to say that she would open the door first, but the pressure on her chest made her lose all her rationality. "Jiang Zhao, come in," she panted anxiously. When she lifted her red face and stared at the man, her eyes were sweet and charming. Jiang Zhao bit her again. No one. Bastard, one person insisted on invading. One person refused to comply. In the end, Jiang Zhao could only give in to Yi. But once they entered the house and closed the door, the woman was pushed against the wall at the entrance. Her clothes were pulled at haphazardly. The sound of fabric rubbing against each other and the sound of heavy breathing echoed one after another. "Wash it off." "I'm not washing it off." Jiang Zhao did not care so much. In any case, Yi let him kiss her and let him take her clothes off. Right now, he did not want to do anything. He just wanted to barge into her body. He had to do it. He did not want to wait a moment longer. He could not wait. His blood was rushing in the wind at high speed, rushing straight to his brain. He could not think clearly or see clearly. All he could think about was her softness, her tightness, her suffocation, her breathing, and her light moans. The scene in front of him was limitless. The sounds in his ears were so decadent that it tore at his soul. He wanted her. Right now. Their clothes were all on the floor. One big piece, one small piece. They were piled up into a small hill beside their feet. The woman's softness and the man's hard masculinity suddenly collided and instantly intertwined. After hovering between the mortal world and hell, they soared into the heavens and soared into the heavens. The next day, Yi was still sleeping in Jiang Zhao's arms. She was too tired last night and felt that the ringtone belonged to someone else. She felt like she was shopping at the mall, and the phone of the person beside her was ringing nonstop. She wanted to ask him to pick it up, but she could not. What did it have to do with her? His phone was ringing. Mind your own business. Jiang Zhao picked up the phone and looked at the caller ID. The caller ID was Xiaoya. Yi was still sleeping. Besides, Xiaoya might be looking for him about what she said to him yesterday. Jiang Zhao slowly sat up. His muscular upper body was exposed to the air. He leaned against the bed and tucked the quilt over his abdomen. The phone slid open, and Xiaoya's cursing voice came through. Yi, you jerk! Why didn't you pick up the phone until now?" Jiang Zhao really could not stand this kind of relationship between women. They were shouting and shouting. Usually they were not like this. When women were together, they were very noisy. However, he could not say anything directly. He still said politely, "Xiaoya, I'm Jiang Zhao. Yi is still sleeping." "Ah, Jiang Zhao." Xiaoya realized that she had lost her composure. Her voice suddenly softened. That, when will Yi wake up? Is there something you need from her?" "Yes." Xiaoya thought to herself, isn't it better for Jiang Zhao to answer the phone? "Jiang Zhao, a lot of things happened at my shop. I haven't slept since yesterday afternoon. Can you help me?" Jiang Zhao was stunned for a moment. Something happened at Xiaoya's shop? Why didn't she look for Zhuang Yichen? Without permission, one could not interfere with the matters of one's friend's woman. "You didn't look for Yichen? Him? He doesn't care about me." "Oh, I'll look for him. He's busy. He's been busy. He hasn't had time to pick up my calls since yesterday." Xiaoya felt terrible when she thought of this. Although they were not lovers, they were still husband and wife, right? She had been with him for 4 years. Now that something had happened, he did not care. She had already looked for him to put in a good word for him, but he still said that he was busy. He was clearly disgusted with her. It was indeed sad to be a pure man. He despised her when he wanted to and abandoned her when he wanted to. When he doted on her, he would give her a few magazine pages a day and even make a special program to support her. She was just a designer in the past. Her company had started a private customization project, but he gave her a piece of land and let her be her own boss. He even bought a commercial building in a prime location for her. He had not even bat an eyelid when he squandered money like it was nothing. But since yesterday afternoon, he had refused to help her even if she asked him for a small favor. He even said not to look for him for the time being. He was really ruthless. He had lifted her up and watched her fall. Didn't he feel that it was a pity? Jiang Zhao placed his hand beside Yi Er's ears so as not to disturb her. His brows furrowed as he pondered over the matter. Would Zhuang Yiqin not care about Xiao Xiaoya's matters? Could he believe it? Not all. If he really did not care, he would not have said that over the phone at the hospital and asked for a guarantee. If someone else touched Xiao Xiaoya's shop and Zhuang Yiqin found out, it would be embarrassing. Although not many people knew about their relationship, Zhuang Yiqin would not lose face even in front of Xiao Xiaoya. But Zhuang Yiqin chose not to care. What was the reason? Unless Zhuang Yiqin did it himself. He really could not care about this matter. Zhuang Yiqin was clearly trying to cheer Xiao Xiaoya up because of the Ouyang Yin incident. He remembered that Zhuang Yiqin was very unhappy about the phone call yesterday. Xiao Xiaoya was indeed in a dangerous situation yesterday. It was understandable that Zhuang Yiqin was worried. But would it be counterproductive to ruin Xiao Xiaoya's business? Xiaoya, I'll remember this. Don't worry. Let me check it out. Thank you, Jiang Zhao. I knew that friends are more useful than him. Jiang Zhao smiled helplessly. He owed Xiaoya a favor. But his relationship with Zhuang Yiqin. Sigh. He felt like he was in a dilemma. Don't worry. Go back to sleep. The phone call ended. Jiang Zhao put on his robe, tied it, and went to another room. He called Zhuang Yiqin. You did something to Xiao Xiaoya, right? Zhuang Yiqin did not deny it. Yes, I taught her a lesson. Now that she's here to look for me, do you think I should help her or not? Are you trying to go against me? Zhuang Yiqin laughed out loud. Brother Zhao, you really shouldn't help her. Otherwise, you'll be meddling in my private affairs. But Xiao Xiaoya is Yun Ye's friend. I owe her a favor for what happened yesterday. Don't you think it's unreasonable for me to not help her? But Brother Zhao, you're Zhuang Yiqin's friend. We owe each other a lot. It's not right for you to help others go against me, right? Haha, fine. As long as she doesn't ask Yun Yi to look for me. I won't help her. What do you think? No, you can't help her. Zhuang Yiqin stopped laughing and became more serious. Brother Zhao, you know my situation. I'm surrounded by danger. If Xiao Xiaoya doesn't know how to protect herself, she'll get herself killed sooner or later. She's become more and more disobedient in the past few months. This isn't good for her. Jiang Zhao had a headache. Why did he ask his woman to provoke Xia Qian for no reason? He really had a lot of things to deal with. He had thought of this path, but now he had gone astray. Yes, he had gone astray. This was what they meant by the saying, you brought this upon yourself. Okay. I don't care. I really want to take annual leave and take my wife abroad to hide. I think you shouldn't worry about me. At most, I'll pretend that I'm not capable enough. Jiang Zhao deliberately paused and then laughed. But aren't you worried that she'll go too? Kang Yun? Zhuang Yiqin tightened his grip on the phone. She could try to find him if she dares. A miscarriage was just a small operation. She could get out of bed on the same day. However, Ouyang Yin was lying in bed until the next morning. She always felt that she was too weak. She was seriously injured and had a miscarriage caused by a man. It was such a painful experience. The more she felt that her experience was painful, the more she was dissatisfied with the things around her. The weakness of her body reminded her of the person who caused the miscarriage. This vicious cycle almost led her to a dead end. Everything that happened to her was caused by Jiang Zhao. The happiness that she should have had was destroyed because of Yi Er's appearance. Even if she couldn't have Jiang Zhao, She knew that she would never be able to have Jiang Zhao again. However, if she couldn't have him, she would destroy him. No one would have a good life. This was the only way she could get out of this dead end. Therefore, she lifted the blanket and got out of bed. She used her connections to find the doctor who operated on her yesterday. She had prepared all the money that she needed. Yesterday's doctor, from the surgery to the anesthetist to the assistant nurses, all of them had taken Xiao Ye's money. Although compared to Ouyang Yin, Xiao Ye didn't give much, but at that time, everyone felt that it was a lot. Therefore, when Ouyang Yin asked the doctor in charge to bribe him again, the doctor was very hesitant. The number on the check was enough for him to quit being a doctor for the rest of his life. The doctor in a white coat stared blankly at the valid check in front of him that was stamped with the company's stamp and the legal person's stamp. The balance in his heart began to waver. Attention Songshu 566. Chapter 659. The doctor's voice was trembling. The doctor occasionally received red packets, but he was a little worried. After all, this was a public hospital, and the management was very strict. If it wasn't for Xiao Ye's repeated promises and comforting them for a long time, he would have accepted the money. Giving embryo was not a big deal, but now the amount was huge, and the situation was very different. If Xiao Ye's amount was discovered, she would be criticized and the money would be handed over. However, the amount written on Ouyang Yan's check was not just a simple red packet. Are you afraid of being sued? Ouyang Yan was a prosecutor and was good at observing people's emotions. At this time, when she saw the hesitation and greed in the doctor's eyes, she forced him to say, "Don't worry, I only gave this money to you. You also know that I'm a prosecutor, and I won't be stupid enough to sue you. You'll definitely be safe if you accept this money." The doctor felt relieved. What do you want to do? Ouyang Yin had always been dignified, but at this time, her behavior was a little frivolous. She used her orchid fingers to open the doctor's pocket, smiled and blew at the check in her hand, and then put the check in her pocket. She reached out and touched it, and the doctor's heart couldn't help but beat faster. Ouyang Yin looked at the doctor's nervous expression and laughed. It was a little charming. I don't know much about the departments in your hospital, but now I need you to help me find someone to do a fake DNA test. If you want money, you can pay from the check I gave you. Of course, if you don't want to share this money with others, I will give you the amount you need. Okay. After Yier woke up, she opened the window. Although there was cold air, it still made her feel like a blooming flower. The garden in the neighborhood was very rich. At this time, the plum blossoms were wilting and pear blossoms were blooming. It was really beautiful. Jiang Zhao didn't let her care about other things. Only 3 things: the shop, her studies, and visiting her father in the evening. Her life was fulfilling and relaxing. Jiang Zhao asked Xiao Ye to send a photo to communicate with the doctor yesterday, so as not to beat around the bush. Xiao Ye couldn't fall asleep anyway, so she volunteered to go with him. Jiang Zhao smiled. When this woman talked about loyalty, she was no worse than a man. At this time, Xiao Ye's eyebrows and hair must have been burned by her own affairs. How could she still have the mood to help him deal with his private affairs? Zhuang Yiqin was too heartless. Xiao Ye did not drive her own car. Instead, she asked Jiang Zhao to pick her up. After picking up Xiao Ye, Jiang Zhao discovered a common problem of women, which was nagging. In the past, he used to think that Xiao Ye was a cold and unkind person who didn't talk much. Now it was completely different. People tend to go to 2 extremes after a setback in their career. They are either very quiet or very talkative. Xiao Ye was obviously the second type. Jiang Zhao, you don't know how crazy Zhuang Yiqin is. You better not be with him. People like him don't care about old friendships when they are ruthless. Jiang Zhao thought to himself, how could he not know what kind of person Zhuang Yiqin was? If he said that Zhuang Yiqin was ruthless and heartless, that was a fact. But if he said that he didn't care about old friendships, it was a bit unreasonable. If he really had feelings, he was definitely not an ungrateful person. When working with a person, it was not only about the person's ability, but also their character. No matter how outstanding a person's ability was, if his character was bad, You would spend more time on guard against such a person's dirty tricks, and the tacit understanding between you and him would be greatly reduced. He and Zhuang Yichen were both people who knew how to choose partners. Unless they used them for a while and parted ways after cooperating once, they would definitely observe the person's character before cooperating. Xiaoya, sometimes you should see more of his benefits. Jiang Zhao was like all men's brothers, only saying good things in front of other people's female companions. Benefits? I think other than having a model's body and a good appearance, he doesn't have any benefits. At this time, Xiaoya had already degraded Zhuang Yichen in her heart. She didn't want to hear anyone say good things about Zhuang Yichen. The things he gave her were all gone, so he didn't have any benefits. Sai, there are some things that you should look at. He doesn't need you to earn much money. Is it because you haven't been obedient recently and made him angry? Is that why he won't help you? Jiang Zhao couldn't say that this matter was arranged by Zhuang Yichen, and that Zhuang Yichen was the one who said that she hadn't been obedient. Moreover, Xiaoya was helping him identify people, so he couldn't say that Zhuang Yichen had closed the shop because of him. Xiaoya knew very well that although Jiang Zhao had never exposed her relationship with Zhuang Yichen, it was as clear as a mirror in everyone's hearts. She sighed. He's never asked me to do anything. He just wants me to be there when he wants me to be at Qing Phone Garden. He never cares about anything else. Even when she had a headache or fever, there was no one by her side. Xiaoya felt a little sour in her heart. She felt more and more that a woman should find a man who loved her. What was the use of having a lot of money? Her career was gone just like that, and there was a pile of compensation waiting for her to deal with. If there was a man who loved and cared about her right now, how would he bear to let her worry like this? He would definitely help her solve it. Xiaoya thought about it in an extreme way, but it never occurred to her that Zhuang Yichen hadn't cared about her for the past few years. At most, he would ask her to stay at Qing Phone Garden at night. However, if she had any setbacks in her career, she just had to tell Zhuang Yichen, and he would definitely solve it. What she didn't understand was that she had secretly used Zhuang Yichen's treatment of her as a standard. Jiang Zhao felt that as a man, he shouldn't talk about such things with a woman. The more he talked about it, the more he would seem like a sissy. However, Qiu Xiaoya was Yi Er's good friend. Yi Er seemed to be very calculative, but he was actually very good to his friends. Although he didn't dare to hang out with Zheng Ling because he was afraid of Zheng Ling's mother, he still wanted to help Zheng Ling get some business. Even his colleagues in the building asked him if they could go to Zheng Ling's photography studio to take care of business. Qiu Xiaoya and Xia Qian were also considered her friends. Last time, they had argued so fiercely that she wasn't allowed to hang out with that perverted girl, Xia Qian, but she didn't listen to him. Thinking about it, he didn't have much time to spend with her. It was always good to have friends to prevent depression. She wasn't depressed anymore. He had to treat her friends well. There was nothing much to say. However, it was a little depressing to talk to a woman who wasn't his wife. He couldn't possibly talk bad about Zhuang Yichen together with Qiu Xiaoya. Could he? Xiaoya, do you remember how many of those people from yesterday? Xiaoya saw that Jiang Zhao had changed the topic. She was suspicious for a moment, but when she remembered that this was the most important thing of the day, she got used to it. She no longer slumped in her seat like before. Instead, she sat up straight and looked at Jiang Zhao. I remember them. I also remember their faces. Actually, it's okay. I just need to find the doctor in charge and the one who did the DNA test for me. The DNA test results won't come out so quickly. It's always good to go and greet them. Okay, you can help me identify them later. Okay, there are many people in the public hospital, and if she wanted to find someone to give them a red packet, it would be a very troublesome matter. Even though Yang Yu was a smart girl, and she had a lot of dealings with rich ladies and young masters, she was not a big problem in public relations. That was why she was able to successfully give them the red packet. A few doctors who managed to bribe them felt that Xiaoya was a good person. But when the doctors and nurses were called to the director's office and saw Xiaoya and Jiang Zhao together, their legs went soft. Jiang Zhao was the deputy mayor of High City. Everyone was talking about him. He was the best candidate for the next mayor, and no one could challenge him. In the director's office, the director and Jiang Zhao each sat on a sofa. Xiaoya dragged an office chair and sat behind Jiang Zhao's sofa. Originally, it was a big deal for the mayor to visit the hospital, but the director asked them to keep it a secret. Jiang Zhao was not stupid enough to say that he might be the father of the Ouyang Yan's fetus. "Thank you for your hard work yesterday. Have a seat." Jiang Zhao had inherited the humility from the Qin and Jiang families. That's why people called him a sly fox behind his back. They also praised him for being a good person. A few doctors and nurses looked at Xiaoya, who was sitting calmly behind Jiang Zhao, and their hearts palpitated with fear. Did they not get any money this time? Instead, they were fished by others. The fish hook was probably going to be dragged out, right? It was a small matter if the hook was pulled out. But if the hook was pulled out, the hook would bleed, and the fish would die. The young nurse could not stand such an atmosphere. She felt that her brain was short of oxygen. She needed to be put on an oxygen mask. When she was about to fall, her colleagues quickly supported her. The director saw that no one dared to sit down and added, "Pull a chair and sit down. Don't just stand there." A few of them quickly pulled a chair and sat down. "Mayor Jiang, what are you talking about? The hospital is here to save lives." A few doctors and nurses were too scared to say anything. The director could only reply to Jiang Zhao with a smile. Miss Chiu brought her friend over for the operation yesterday. Jiang Zhao's gaze calmly swept over the few people who were already sitting in a mess. However, he stopped halfway through his words. Someone took a deep breath. Mayor Jiang." He stuttered and did not dare to continue. "I am here today for no other reason. Miss Chiu said that she wants to visit the hospital. So, I dropped by to visit the old director." The topic changed too quickly, from the equator where fireballs were everywhere to the North Pole where ice and snow were everywhere. This was too much. Was Miss Chiu the main point or the old director the main point? "Do you want me to live?" But since the other party did not ask, he could not just confess. He had just received the Ouyang Yan's check this morning. The doctor looked at Jiang Zhao's calm expression and felt that he did not have long to live. Attention, Xinwu, 799. Chapter 660. At this moment, Jiang Zhao tilted his head and said politely, "Old director, why don't we go somewhere else and let Miss Chiu talk to these doctors?" How could the old dean be someone who didn't know how to see things clearly? He knew this matter was not simple, but it was not convenient for him to ask. Even the mayor was beating around the bush. What else could he say? "Okay." At this time, Xiaoya called out to Jiang Zhao, who had already stood up. "Brother Zhao, I'll come to you later." Jiang Zhao smiled. "Okay." When Dong Xuebing called him Brother Zhao, everyone who was involved in Ouyang Yan's surgery felt nervous. When only Little Ye and the doctor from yesterday were left in the office, Little Ye stood up. She thought to herself, it's really different to have power and influence. How much effort did I put in to give the red packet yesterday? Once Jiang Zhaokai came out, it was immediately settled. "I am here to thank all of you for what you did yesterday." When Xiaoya said this, the nurse rubbed her leg. "Sister, don't thank us like this." She sounded like she was about to cry. "How can I do that? If I don't thank all of you, what if someone else thanked all of you before me?" Xiaoya said as she looked at everyone. The doctor who received Ouyang Yan's check wiped the sweat off his forehead. He knew Ouyang Yan was a public prosecutor, but he also knew that Jiang Zhao was the deputy mayor. Sometimes you will only know what it means to be a wolf in the front and a tiger in the back. Xiaoya had been young and inexperienced when she first started her career. However, after she became a boss in recent years, she was used to seeing people's expressions. Now, she was able to quickly find the difference in people's expressions. An attending physician's uneasiness and lack of composure should not be the professional ethics that a doctor should have. Especially now, his reaction was clearly different from others. When he lowered his eyes, he was silent and focused. When he clenched his fists tightly, he was frowning tightly. All of these indicated that he was deeply tormenting something. He was weighing the pros and cons. Actually, I am not here to say anything. I just want to remind everyone that there should not be any changes in this case. If not, it will not be good for everyone. Xiaoya said, and purposely looked at Jiang Zhao's seat. Dong Xuebing was threatening Dong Xuebing. Absolutely not. Don't worry, Miss Chiu. Absolutely not. We promise not to tell anyone about this. Xiaoyu said after a while. Sorry for wasting everyone's time. Let's get back to work. In the end, she asked the doctor in charge of the DNA to stay. The doctor, who had received Ouyang Yan's money, suddenly trembled. Did he really eat hot charcoal this time? Xiaoyu asked the doctor in charge of the DNA to stay. He did not say much. He only said, I want first-hand information. You can't give it to anyone else except me. Otherwise, the consequences will not be easy to deal with. I know. I will get the report done as soon as possible. I will rush it out tonight. You don't have to wait too long. The doctor had to know that when he received Xiaoyu's money yesterday, he did not expect that Xiaoyu would have such a powerful backer. Now that she had a backer, even a stupid person would know which side to lean towards. After all, people in politics were not to be trifled with. Thank you for your hard work. After everyone left the room, Xiaoyu did not look for Jiang Zhao. Instead, she called him and told him that she had settled her matter. The doctor, who had received Ouyang Yan's check, did not return his office. Instead, he went to the rooftop alone. It seemed that he could not accept Ouyang Yan's money now. Even if he did not become a doctor in this life, he could not accept this money that was enough to last him a lifetime. When he had accepted Ouyang Yan's money, it was not only because of the large number and the fact that Ouyang Yan was a prosecutor and would not report him. More importantly, Ouyang Yan had the family Ouyang behind him. If something really happened, the family Ouyang would not let anyone expose Ouyang Yan. Then he would be safe. But now it was not so simple. Behind Jiang Zhao were the Jiang family in the east and the Qin family in High City. He could not afford to offend them. He thought that the family Ouyang could not afford to offend him either. But how could he open his mouth? Xiaoyu was smart not only because she knew how to deal with people. For example, after Jiang Zhao returned to the hospital director's office, she smiled at Jiang Zhao. Brother Zhao, how was my performance today? Jiang Zhao had goosebumps when he heard Xiaoyu call him Brother Zhao. This was because Xiaoyu had always called Jiang Zhao directly, including Xia Qian. This was because in their eyes, Yi Er was the youngest. They were older than Yi Er, so he was their brother-in-law. They had always taken advantage of him. Fortunately, he never cared about these titles. He instinctively felt that Xiaoyu calling him Brother Zhao was not a good thing, but he still sighed and said, Thank you, Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu chuckled. What are you thanking me for? We're all friends. It's only right that we take care of each other and help each other. When Jiang Zhao heard this and saw the smile on Xiaoyu's face, he coughed. You didn't rest well yesterday. I'll send you back first. I have to rush back to the building too. I'll treat you to dinner tonight. I'll bring Yin Yi with me. Xiaoyu could tell that Jiang Zhao was avoiding her. She stopped pretending. Jiang Zhao, you don't want to help me, right? Zhuang Yiqin did not say that he would continue to make a fuss. As long as Xiaoyu behaved herself, this matter would come to an end. Therefore, he could not help her now. If he helped her, it would be more of a hindrance. Perhaps the more he helped, the worse things would happen. When Zhuang Yiqin got angry, there would be more serious things. He sighed. Actually, you might as well not care about this matter. Stay at home for a while. You might just stay at home for a while. Xiaoyu snorted and glared at Jiang Zhao. You're all heartless. She grabbed her bag from the stool and turned to leave. Jiang Zhao hurriedly chased after her. Xiaoyu ran out of the hospital and hailed a taxi. Jiang Zhao did not manage to catch up with her. He called Zhuang Yiqin and said angrily, Can you stop messing around with Chiu and Xiaoyu? You're putting me in a difficult position now. It's okay. Just don't pick up her calls in the future. You really? Jiang Zhao hung up the phone. It was the hardest thing to interfere in a couple's affairs. However, it happened because of him. Who did he offend? Empire Yunwu walked out of the conference room and into his office. Shi Jintian sat on the sofa in the living room, sipping his tea leisurely. Yunwu sighed softly and tossed the papers on the table. He said grumpily, Grandpa, how long are you going to follow me around? Aren't you tired? Not all. Shi Jintian flipped through the newspaper. I like to drink tea and read the newspaper at the same time. You don't have to worry about me. Then why don't you go back to the house and drink your tea? Why are you following me around 24/7? Nonsense. Did I follow you to the meeting just now? Shi Jintian only cared about the questions and answers. He did not even raise his head as he flipped through the newspaper. It was as if he was looking for a piece of news that piqued his interest. Yinwu's face was as beautiful as jade. When he got angry, his clear eyes suddenly became angry and angry. You're going to drive me crazy if you keep staring at me like this. Shi Jintian tossed the newspaper on the sofa. Drive you? You promised me before that you wouldn't look for Jiang Zhao's wife. Didn't you go after that? That's because something happened to her. I just want to take a look. Don't talk nonsense with me. Let me tell you, I said that you're not allowed to go, so you can't go. If I hadn't been following you around all this time, would you have been so obedient? That's right. I'll remove all your spies. You just endure for a while. I don't believe that you won't be able to live if you don't get any news about her. Unwu knew very well that there must be something wrong with the spies if there had been no news for such a long time. He was not surprised that his grandfather had replaced them. However, he still felt very uncomfortable when his grandfather said this. Yes. Your brotherhood is the most important thing. Do you want me to write a written pledge for you? No. A written pledge will be gone once it's burned. You have to tell me with your own actions. When all the paintings in your studio are replaced with those of other women, I'll set you free. Grandpa. Unwu stood up and stared at his grandfather, who was sitting on the sofa. He wanted to smash a hole in the table. Then you can continue to follow me around like this. Asking him to throw away those paintings, he might as well take his life. Oh Yang, Yin was sleeping on the bed when someone patted her shoulder. She opened her eyes and saw the doctor. The doctor had locked the door and was not worried. But when Ouyang Yin saw the doctor placing the check on her blanket, she sat up. What do you mean by this? Miss Ouyang, I cannot accept this money. You cannot accept it? Is it because the DNA test did not work? How much does he need? The doctor hesitated. He could not tell Feng Yu that it was because Mayor Jiang had asked him to accept the check. It's not about the money. No matter how much the check is, I cannot accept it. The hospital has regulations. We cannot accept red packets. Ouyang Yin suddenly laughed. Haha, are you trying to act all high and mighty in front of me? You had promised me this morning. Stopping there, Ouyang Yin smiled again. Her originally pure smile was overshadowed by a sinister look, and her words were filled with provocation. Do you think I didn't hold back? I had recorded our conversation this morning. Even if you refund me the money, you will still accept it. You can choose now. Welfare Hong Cha 866. Chapter 661. The attending doctor looked at the check on Ouyang Yan's blanket and lost his balance. He stumbled a few steps back and almost fell to the ground. Ouyang Yin lay down again as if there was no one around. You can go. Take the money that belongs to you. The attending doctor held onto the bed frame and closed his eyes. If he could spit out what he had done, he would have done it by now. He had made such a big mistake this time because he was too greedy. After Yi finished checking the accounts of the first day in the dance studio, she looked around and sometimes acted as a teacher. The dance studio was very spacious and there were many dance rooms. Yi changed into a black t-shirt with the word dance on it and walked through a group of students. She listened to the rhythmic chanting of 1-da-da, 2-da-da-da, 3-da-da-da, and thought about the peaceful days she had today. She was very happy. If only her father could wake up soon. Then her days would be like living in a honeypot. Yi's store was open. Just as Jiang Zhao had expected, there would be a lot of people coming to buy cards, regardless of whether they could use it or not. If they wanted to buy cards, they would buy the most expensive ones. They wanted to get closer to Yi so that they could get closer to Jiang Zhao. Yi also understood the pros and cons of this, so when she ordered the package, she separated the most expensive package into several different packages. She was not worried that someone would buy the package and report that Jiang Zhao had accepted bribes, but she still had to take precautions if it was too obvious. There were both men and women who came to buy the package. Some men in their 50s said that they wanted to train their bodies and learn how to dance, but not only did they not know how to dance, they probably did not even know how to dance. Just by looking at their big bellies, it was obvious that they lacked exercise. Their actions were too obvious. Jiang Zhao said that he was not afraid of this. If people tried to bribe him in private, it was fine as long as he did not accept it. Yi did this very well. Today, another man came to buy the package. If other people saw this, they would definitely tell Yi that there was finally someone who looked like he had trained and was even handsome. However, when Yi saw Min Zikai, she did not notice it at all. Miss and young masters from rich families had to learn the basics of social etiquette, but they would have professional teachers to teach them. Especially at Min Zikai's age, they had already learned the basics. Yi, Min Zikai smiled. Good morning, young masterman. Yi thought that if she had known this would happen, she would not have come to the cashier to see if there were any golden eggs flying up today. If she had not come, she would not have met Min Zikai. She really felt uncomfortable just looking at him. Although she and Qing Su were siblings, she had never felt this way when she saw Qing Su. Min Zikai was a disgrace in her life. No one would be willing to ignore their past disgrace. Yi had always been distant from Min Zikai. Min Zikai smiled and said, Yi, I'll take care of your business. Sure, I'll arrange for someone to serve young mastermen. Yi said generously to the cashier. Give young mastermen a 10% discount. Puffed. The cashier was a young girl. This was the first time she had heard the boss give a 10% discount. Many of the boss's friends were given a 30% discount. The reason was that they could not refuse to accept money, but they could not take money from their friends. The premise was that they did not suffer a loss. Actually, they could all make a profit. The cost was not high. This 10% discount was too shabby. However, she still put on a sincere smile and said, Okay. Min Zikai's smile also froze. That girl, Qing Su, had said that she had applied for a car at Yi's place and had a 40% discount. What did 40% mean? But now he was giving him a 10% discount. Did he hear wrongly? This was not a matter of money. This was a matter of status. What did it mean? It meant that Yi valued that girl more. Yi quickly left, saying that he had a lot of things to do. He left Min Zikai to his assistant. Opposite Yi's dance studio was Xiaoya's custom-made studio. It was not open today. The iron chains on the glass door clanged as someone fiddled with them. The man wore a baseball cap on his head. The front of the cap was very long and low, so his face could not be seen clearly. However, the stubble on his chin could be seen clearly. He was very tall and wore a thin jacket. His hand touched the iron chain as he raised his head to look at the opposite building. When he looked up, the sun shone into his eyes. He narrowed his eyes slightly and released a murderous aura. This was a man who had been mistakenly called a pervert by Qing Su when they went to the private hospital for a checkup. Jiang Zhao had been looking for him for a long time. However, he was good at anti-tracking. How could he be tracked down so easily? He had been quiet for such a long time so that these people would let down their guard. He had basically figured out this woman's route. This was the person that the buyer wanted to kill. However, the person he wanted to kill the most now was that girl, Qing Su. If that girl had not hit that car, how could his brother have gotten into an accident? He could not rush them. Last time, it was because he was not stable enough that he encountered such an accident. The attending doctor asked the DNA appraiser, What did Miss Chiu say to you just now? The DNA appraiser said, No, nothing. Don't try to avoid it. You also took her money, right? What? The DNA appraiser was shocked. Although they were colleagues, he was not in the same department as the surgery team. There is always an inexplicable gap between them. What nonsense are you talking about? The people who were called to the director's office today were all paid. The attending doctor asked the DNA appraiser to the rooftop. The February wind was still a little cold, but it was refreshing. At this time, he was so annoyed that he lit a cigarette and took a puff. We all know that, right? The DNA appraiser did not dare to speak. Trouble came from the mouth. The hospital was a place of conflict. Not to mention the tense doctor-patient relationship. Even the competition between doctors was a smoke-free battle. Although they were in different departments, they had to be careful. Sigh. The DNA appraiser only sighed. He did not admit or deny it. Do you feel that we are in trouble this time? The attending doctor turned his head and looked at the person next to him worriedly. Yes. Perhaps it was a habit formed in his work to only talk about work-related matters. He was a man of few words. I'll give you a sum of money. Are you willing to change the test result? It's a very large sum of money. It's enough for you to live a lifetime without working in the hospital. The DNA appraiser was so scared that he immediately quivered. No, he was not a fool. He did not dare to do such a thing, especially after knowing that Miss Chiu was backing him up. He could not let anyone change the first-hand information. Some things were not about how much money he could earn or spend his lifetime. If he had so much money, he might not have the chance to spend it. He might cause his family to not live a peaceful life. He could not take this risk. The attending doctor laughed self-deprecatingly and patted the DNA appraiser's shoulder. I just said it casually. Look at how scared you are. Ha! As Jiang Zhao had made plans to go to the hospital in the morning, he had a lot of time to spare. Therefore, he had arranged everything in the morning and pushed his working hours to after the lunch break. He did not want to go to the building at this time. He wanted to sit at Yi Er's place. Anyway, they could have lunch together before going to the building. Everyone knew that Yi Er was his wife and had opened a dance studio. There was nothing to hide. He went to Yi Er generously. It was the same every time. But when he saw Min Zikai running around in the dance studio, he was unhappy. Last time, Yang Fan said that Qing Su had stopped him. Although she said that she wanted to teach Min Zikai a lesson, he was unhappy. But after thinking about it, if Qing Su had stopped him, maybe Qing Su did not want to see anything happen to Min Zikai. Even if he knew everything, Yi Er owed Qing Su a life. He could not be too ruthless. After that, he called Yang Fan and told him to forget about Min Zikai for the time being. It was not a big deal to see Min Zikai outside, but this was Yi Er's territory. What was Min Zikai doing here? Your boss, Yin Yi, was here just now. Where did she go now? Where's her office? Min Zikai grabbed a staff member and questioned him carefully. Jiang Zhao walked over and patted Min Zikai on the shoulder. Min Zikai turned around. When he saw Jiang Zhao, his face suddenly turned cold. Jiang Zhao smiled like a gentleman and said, "Young Master Min, you're really free. What are you doing here?" "I'm here to learn about international dance from Yi Er." Min Zikai had always felt that he was not inferior to Jiang Zhao. Moreover, ever since Yi Er and Qing Su's accident, he clearly noticed that Jiang Zhao's attitude towards his father had become friendlier. Jiang Zhao must have felt that he owed family men a favor. The more he thought about it, the more his sense of superiority suddenly rose. Actually, I learned international dance from Yi Er. When she was 10 years old and practiced dancing, I was the one who accompanied her. After that, when I learned international dance, she was the one who became my dance partner and practiced with me. Min Zikai became more and more enthusiastic as he spoke. However, he did not consider that Jiang Zhao's attitude towards Min Hongsheng had improved completely because Qing Su had saved Yi Er's life. Min Hongsheng also doted on Qing Su very much, so it was natural for him to feel sorry for her. This had nothing to do with Min Zikai. Min Zikai did not notice that Jiang Zhao's gaze was getting colder and colder. He wanted to continue provoking him. It seems that young Master Min is really free recently. It's only right that you find something to do. Jiang Zhao's voice was calm, but it suddenly made his hair stand on end. A dangerous aura was rushing towards him. Come and see. Honchite 66. Chapter 662. It's none of your business whether I'm free or not. In any case, I've already booked a card here. Min Zikai turned around and asked the staff member. Jiang Zhao gave him a look of disdain and called Yi Er. Why do you accept anyone who comes to book a card? Yi Er was stunned. What do you mean? I'm in the lounge area. Come over. Jiang Zhao hung up. When Min Zikai heard Jiang Zhao's call, he immediately turned around. Yi Er changed your cell phone? Jiang Zhao's smile was still gentlemanly, but there was a hint of malice in it. I didn't change it. I just didn't want to pick up your call. Yi Er knew that Jiang Zhao's tone wasn't good, so she hung up and headed to the lounge area. At this time, most of the students were in class, so the lounge area was very quiet. Even if it was very quiet, Jiang Zhao would usually go to the office to look for her. He always felt that it was a little inappropriate. But now, he was directly waiting for her in the lounge area. But once she got there, Yi finally understood. With Min Zikai around, she couldn't possibly bring Min Zikai to the office, right? Tell me, are you going to accept anyone who comes to book a card? Jiang Zhao asked unhappily when he saw Yi. Yi looked at Min Zikai and then hooked her arm around Jiang Zhao's. If there's business to be done, I have to do it. After Yi said that, she gave the staff member a look and gestured for him to leave. When Jiang Zhao saw that the staff member had left, he became even more stubborn. You're not allowed to do business with him. When Min Zikai heard this, he stepped forward. Why should I? Because I think you're ugly. Without anyone else around, Jiang Zhao didn't really care about his image. When he spoke, there was a hint of willfulness in his tone. You're good looking? You're the ugly one. Min Zikai was so angry that his face turned red. Jiang Zhao laughed and said, Why don't you take a look at yourself in the mirror? Then you'll know what's going on. Still asking? Aren't you embarrassed? Yi held onto Jiang Zhao's arm and bent over in laughter. Jiang Zhao pulled her up and asked coldly, What are you laughing at? Yi stood on her tiptoes and kissed Jiang Zhao's face. Hey, honey, he's not as good looking as you. I swear, he's not as good looking as you. You're the most handsome one. No one can compare to you. Jiang Zhao was amused. His heart was flying with joy. The smile on his face froze for a moment and then twitched. He looked very unnatural and embarrassed. He glanced at Min Zikai provocatively and said to Yi, Let's go eat. Min Zikai was hurt, not because of Jiang Zhao's provocation, but because of what Yi had said to curry favor with Jiang Zhao. It had really hurt him. It was only 8 o'clock at night. The DNA technician called Xiaoya and told her that the results were out. Xiaoya called Jiang Zhao and asked if she wanted to go get it or if he wanted to go get it himself. Before Jiang Zhao could say anything, Xiaoya sighed and said, Let me go. Although you're heartless, I can't be unjust. It's not very appropriate for you to go get it. People will suspect you. It's not good to have one more person suspect. Jiang Zhao thanked her. After hanging up, he thought that Zhuang Yiqin treated Xiaoya differently for a reason. A smart woman like her knew how to grasp people's hearts. He now felt a deep sense of guilt. The scales were tilted toward Xiaoya. He even thought that if he helped Xiaoya, Zhuang Yiqin would probably not take it seriously when he reconciled with Xiaoya in the future. Jiang Zhao also took his own sample for a DNA test. He wanted to wait for Xiaoya's report to be out and then compare it. Xiaoya drove to the hospital. She thought about it more in the afternoon. She couldn't blame Jiang Zhao for this matter. She had her own business and came in contact with rich madams and company directors. She also knew that perhaps someone was messing with her. It was too obvious. However, it was precisely because someone was deliberately messing with her that Jiang Zhao couldn't interfere. The people she came in contact with also had powerful backgrounds. Why did they have to drag Jiang Zhao into this? She didn't even care about her own man. How could she count on someone else's man? The dashboard showed that the car was low on gas. She drove to the nearest gas station. She recognized the car parked in front at a glance. It was Haiqing's most unique red and green Qian. Lu Qingsu, this girl, was so strange that she was afraid that others wouldn't remember her. She was the same. However, when she saw the red Qian covered in green willow branches, she really felt that spring was not far away. Just because Qingsu had saved Yi's life, the few of them were getting closer. However, did Qingsu only like red Qians? The previous one had already been hit so badly. The license plate had also been changed, but the style hadn't changed at all. Xiaoya rolled down the car window and pressed the car horn. Qingsu was in the car. The moment she heard someone honking, she felt a little annoyed. She was about to roll down the car window and stick her head out to scold. What the hell are you rushing me for? If you have the ability, fly over there. In the end, she saw from the rearview mirror that Xiaoya's head and hands were outside the car window. She was smiling and waving at her car. Qingsu scratched her head a little embarrassedly. She opened the car door and got out. She walked up to Xiaoya's window and said, "Hello, Sister Xiaoya." Xiaoya rested her hand on the car door. She rested her chin on her forearm and looked at Ching Su. Lulu, why aren't you home? Ching Su smiled. I'm walking around outside. I want to go to the bar later. You're in your second year of high school, right? Yes. You should study more at home and strive to get into a good university. What's so good about going to university? Ching Su shrugged in embarrassment. My grades are very bad. I won't be able to get in. If Min Hongsheng were to donate a building to go to school, I wouldn't want to embarrass myself like that. Xiaoya felt that Ching Su wasn't as innocent as the rumors said. Sometimes when she saw Ching Su, she would think of Xia Qian when she was young. When she thought of this, she felt a little sad. If you don't try hard, you won't know. You're only in your second year of high school. There will be plenty of opportunities. The two of them chatted for a while. Xiaoya asked about Ching Su's health. Ching Su asked Xiaoya if the business of the store was good. Sister Xiaoya, what's your personal phone number? I don't want the one on your business card. I'll look for you another day. Xiaoya smiled. This girl made herself sound like an adult. She had never seen her play with children her age. After giving her her number, Ching Su dialed the numbers one by one. Then, she called Xiaoya. When she heard the ringtone, she said, Sister Xiaoya, say my number too. Otherwise, I'll be sad if you ask me who I'm the next time I ask you out. Haha. Okay, but I know who you are even if I don't save it. I can recognize your voice immediately. It's crisp and sweet. Ching Su lowered her head shyly. The two of them. They chatted until a car behind them honked. Then, they said goodbye to each other and drove away. When Xiaoya arrived at the hospital, she went to the laboratory building behind the inpatient department. The DNA appraiser was anxiously looking left and right as he waited there. The car's headlights flashed to the doctor. The doctor raised his hand to cover his eyes and leaned back slightly. When he saw Xiaoya waving at him through the window, he quickly ran over. The doctor handed a coiled craft paper bag to Littleya. He looked around and said, Don't worry about it. Miss Chiu, this is for you. Xiaoya took the paper bag and smiled at the appraiser. Thank you. Then, she narrowed her eyes slightly. Other than you haven't shown it to anyone else, right? When the doctor saw Xiaoya's eyes, he instantly panicked. He immediately placed his palm by his ear, his face flushed red, and he stuttered anxiously, No, I promise, I swear to the heavens, if I let anyone see it, I will not be well. Before he could say the word die, Xiaoya hurriedly interrupted him. This was really a sin. They must have been frightened by Jiang Zhao's sudden visit during the day. Aya, all right. Big brother, don't swear. You scared me. The doctor suddenly heaved a sigh of relief. Miss Chiu, don't scare me like this. I've been so nervous all day. I wouldn't dare to do anything. You have to believe me. I believe you. Big brother, don't be afraid. Don't worry. Xiaoya finally burst into laughter and threw the report on the passenger seat. Don't let anyone else know. This isn't over yet. If there are any changes, I'll have to look for you. The doctor raised his sleeve to wipe his forehead. God, could he say no? Okay. Miss Chiu, look for me anytime. Xiaoya drove out of the hospital and headed to Ninth Mansion. She knew that Zhuang Yichen lived there too. That D*Ned man knew how to enjoy life. There were so many houses and nests everywhere. What a heartless D*Ned man. He left her in the lurch. When the car was halfway there, her phone suddenly rang. She stopped the car by the roadside and opened the phone to take a look. The number was just saved. Lulu. She unlocked the phone. Hello, Lulu. Save me. Xiaoya panicked. The voice on the phone was wheezing and wheezing. The sound of her breathing was louder than her original voice. She could recognize Ching Su's voice, but how did it become like this? It was as if her life was hanging by a thread. Lulu, where are you? The phone rang with a click sound. It seemed to have fallen to the ground. Lulu, don't hang up the phone. Don't hang up. Xiaoya didn't dare to hang up her phone. She immediately took out her work phone. Who was she calling? Zhuang Yichen? Bah, that man was the most cold-blooded. Jiang Zhao was the most suitable person at this time. Ching Su had saved Yi Er's life before. She found Jiang Zhao's name. She dialed it. Jiang Zhao. Xiaoya's voice was very anxious. Jiang Zhao quickly asked, Something happened? Xiaoya heard Ching Su's breathing louder than her inhalation. She thought of the fire many years ago. When she hugged Xiaoqian, Xiaoqian's voice was just like that. Bit by bit, it was as if she was about to be exhausted. She couldn't help but cry. Jiang Zhao, hurry up and find someone. Think of a way to find out where Ching Su is. She seems to be in big trouble. Her voice is unstable. She's calling for help, but her work phone is in my shop. I don't have her home phone number. Jiang Zhao was suddenly shocked. Yi Er, who was listening to the phone beside his ear, looked shocked. He immediately snatched the phone and said to Xiaoya, "Don't worry, he'll think of a way." Xiaoya quickly spoke into her personal phone. "Lulu, don't hang up. Don't hang up. I'm looking for someone. I'm looking for someone. Tell me, where are you?" Jiang. Bien, come and see. Songshu 566. Chapter 663. Xiaoya had never encountered such a situation before. She didn't know what had happened to Ching Su. She also didn't know what kind of injuries could make such a rebellious young lady so weak as to ask for help. Why did Ching Su call her? Xiaoya comforted Ching Su on the phone as she thought about what was going on. Why did the phone call her? All right, Ching Su flashed her phone number at that time and asked her to save it. She must have pressed the button directly without thinking about who she was calling. She didn't hang up the office phone either. Hearing Jiang Zhao on the phone, Yi Er was so anxious that he kept shouting. Xiaoya thought about Ching Su's voice and felt her scalp tingle. Ching Su was covered in blood. She held the phone weakly and collapsed in a valley. The trees were already sprouting and the grass was growing in February, but it wasn't lush. She didn't know how long she could hide. She only knew that she was almost out of strength. She couldn't open her eyes, stand up, or move her feet. The cracked skin on her body was laughing at her pitiful state. This mountain was facing the river. She seemed to see her mother. Her mother kept waving at her and calling her baby. She ran over and wanted to throw herself into her mother's arms. However, her mother's smile slowly faded. With tears on her face, she turned around and walked slowly towards the river. Ching Su knew that she was going to die. She was going to die soon. She chased after her mother, but her mother said, "Baby, go back, go back." She blocked the phone screen with her hand, afraid that the light would be exposed. In fact, she didn't want to die. The day before her death, her mother said to her, "Baby, my Lulu, I didn't take you to eat good food in the past. I didn't buy you beautiful clothes. You must eat a lot of good food in the future. You must go to many countries and wear many beautiful clothes. Just treat it as if I bought them for you. You must. When you're 50 or 60 years old, you must wear beautiful clothes. Mommy can see it. Mommy will be very happy when she sees you wearing beautiful clothes." She felt that she didn't wear enough beautiful clothes. She hadn't worn out her evening gowns yet. She didn't like to socialize. Xiaoya had a lot of beautiful clothes. She wanted Sister Xiaoya to make an evening gown for her every month. She still had a lot of delicious food. She liked to eat the same food and taste as before. She didn't want to try new things. She wanted to go to various Western restaurants and eat the most expensive French food. Min Hongsheng was very rich. "Help me." She couldn't hear the voice on the phone clearly. She only knew that she had used all her strength to shout those two words. In her consciousness, the man in the bar used a handkerchief to cover her mouth and nose. When she woke up, she was lying in the car. The man waited for her to wake up and dragged her out of the car. Only then did she know that they were at the riverside. He dragged her to the place where the two cars collided. He took a shiny knife to stab her. He gritted his teeth and called her a little whore. He scolded her for being a busybody. He said that if it wasn't for her busybody, his brother wouldn't have died. She didn't know what he said later. She didn't want to explain. She only knew that the words "little whore" were very harsh. Lan Shuyue always scolded her as a child who ruined her life. She said that she was a little whore raised by a whore. She wasn't. Her mother was also not a whore. She fought with the tall man. She didn't expect that she would stab him twice. But the consequences were so serious. She didn't remember when she realized that she shouldn't have fought with the man. She should have run. She couldn't run across the wide area, so she could only run up the mountain. When she was young, she lived a very hard life with her mother. Sometimes she would hide. At this moment, she was extremely scared. Her ears were filled with the sound of the man's footsteps. They came closer and closer. She was scared, but it was useless to be scared. She couldn't walk anymore. "Mom! Mom!" she called out softly. Then, she let out a deep sigh. When Xiaoya heard Xia Qian call out, "Mommy," softly, she suddenly thought of the big fire. Xia Qian was the same. In the end, she called out "Mommy" weakly. "Lulu." Xiaoya covered her mouth. She didn't dare to cry out loud. "Lulu, don't be afraid. Jiang Zhao is already looking for you. He will find you soon." The mobile phone's tracking system was very accurate in the army. Looking at the red dot on the meter, Yi Er and Xiaoya sat in the military vehicle and listened to the breathing sound from the mobile phone. "Jiang Zhao, can the car go faster? I'm worried that Qing Su's mobile phone will run out of battery. It'll be over." Jiang Zhao always patiently comforted Yi Er whenever he heard that. "It'll be soon. We'll be there soon. Boss, it's on this mountain." Shuahao's subordinate pointed at the mountain outside the window and said excitedly. The car had just stopped when a man's voice came from the hands-free phone. "B*TSH, how dare you hide here? I'll kill you today. Let's see if you still want to meddle in other people's business in the future." Yi Er and Xiaoya were about to scream when two soldiers covered their mouths. Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao. Her eyes were watery. The man on the phone suddenly said, "The person we want to kill is Yun Yi. Since you want to join in the fun, fine. Since you're so loyal, you can die for her." Yi Er couldn't hold back her tears anymore. They rolled down the soldier's hands. She couldn't accept that Qing Su was being targeted because of her. Jiang Zhao stood up suddenly. Jiang Zhao silently pointed at the alarm. Hao shook his head. If the alarm went off, the criminal would run away and they wouldn't be able to catch him. But if they delayed for another second, Qing Su's life might be in danger. Jiang Zhao pointed at the alarm forcefully. The alarm went off. As the soldiers rushed up the mountain, dozens of large searchlights were turned on, illuminating the entire mountain. The sudden change made the man on the mountain startled. B*TSH, call the police. Just as he was about to bend down, he heard the sound of footsteps. The man gritted his teeth angrily. "You're not going to live anyway. Cheap life." He left Qing Su, who was covered in blood, and ran away in a hurry. When Qing Su was sent to the intensive care unit, Xiaoya called Xia Qian with trembling hands. She called her nervously. "Qian Qian, Qian Qian." The lights in Xia Qian's dorm were already off. "Sis, what are you doing?" Xiaoya walked towards the end of the corridor. As she walked, she asked, "Qian Qian, how are you? How are you today? Do you have a headache? Do you feel any pain? Did you have any dreams during this period?" "Qian Qian, let's go to Korea this month and get rid of the scars on my back. Okay?" Xiaoya became more and more upset as she spoke. She hugged the phone and sobbed. "Sis, what's wrong?" Xia Qian sat up in a daze. She rubbed her eyes and furrowed her brows. "Sis, why aren't you asleep?" Xiaoya wiped the tears from her face. She looked up at the dim moon in the sky. "Qian Qian, why don't you move in with me tomorrow? Why don't I rent an apartment near your university? Since my shop is closed, I'll cook for you. Focus on your studies." "Sis, I'm already doing my internship. How can I still study? What's wrong with you?" Xia Qian was finally annoyed by Xiaoya. "Qian Qian, I miss you. I miss you." The more Xiaoya cried, the more upset she became. She squatted at the end of the corridor by the balcony. She raised her head and said incoherently, "Qian Qian, I'm sorry. I've let you down." Xiaoya hadn't cried like this in a long time. The sadness of losing her life in her hands was like a flint that ignited when it came into contact with firewood. "Sis, are you crazy?" Xia Qian sighed. "I'm hanging up. I'm so sleepy." After hanging up, Xiaoya fell silent. Jiang Zhao found Xiaoya. "What's wrong? Why don't you go home and get some rest?" Xiaoya was still squatting. She handed her car keys to Jiang Zhao. "Jiang Zhao, you know where my car is. It's where we met just now. The report is on the passenger seat. Go get it. I'll call a cab. If it's convenient for you, can you get someone to drive my car back to Qingfeng Garden?" "Okay." Jiang Zhao took the keys. Why don't I give you a ride? It's okay, you don't have to. You shouldn't tell the family men about what you heard on the phone today, especially Yier. Otherwise, they'll take it out on random people. You should tell Yier not to go to the store for the next few days. It's going to be dangerous. Xiaoye had already recovered from her panic and maintained her usual rationality. It was a kind reminder, but her cold expression made her seem a little heartless. Thank you for reminding me. I know what I'm doing. Jiang Zhao looked at Xiaoye's distracted expression and asked Yier to keep her. He then called the chauffeur to take her back to Qing Phone Garden. Yier stayed at the hospital. Zhuao's subordinates also stayed by Yier's side. They said that they were afraid of danger. The man's words on the phone that night constantly reminded them that the enemy could appear at any time. Jiang Zhao briefed Zhuao and drove to Xiaoye's car alone. Xiaoye's forward focus was in the passenger compartment. He used the remote control to unlock the door. The coil in the craft paper bag was still intact. Jiang Zhao opened the coil and took out the report inside. He glanced at it twice before putting it back and wrapping the bag properly. He got the DNA report and closed the car door. He made a call. When the call connected, he said, I have a set of data here. Compare it with the sample I gave you today and give me a call. The man on the other end answered, Okay. Beauty novel Songshu 566. Chapter 664. After Jiang Zhao hung up, he called Lu Cheng and arranged a meeting place. He gave Xiaoye's car keys to Lu Cheng and asked him to drive Xiaoye's car back to Qing Phone Garden. Then, he went back to the hospital. He knew that Qing Su was not the only one who was hurt today. Yier was also hurt. Yier must be blaming himself right now. Min Hongsheng was a little out of control. Last time, when Qing Su's ribs were broken and her lungs were ruptured, he had not lost control like this. But now, he seemed to be going crazy. He was banging his head against the wall. Lan Qiuyue couldn't stop him. Although Yier didn't like family men, when he saw Min Hongsheng like this, he thought of his own father. There was no father who didn't love his own child. Who could accept such a painful experience? Yier wanted to comfort him, but he was stopped by Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao was afraid that Yier would talk nonsense. At this time, he definitely couldn't tell Min Hongsheng that everything happened because of Yier. Just like what Xiaoye said, if he told family men now, the blame would be pointed at Yier. The most important thing now was to find the murderer. Both families should focus their efforts on the murderer and not make things difficult for Yier. Min Hongsheng was still wearing the suit that he had worn when he met people for a business meeting. At this time, he sat on the ground and leaned his head against the wall. He cried bitterly and looked extremely pathetic. Lan Qiuyue was exhausted from pulling Min Hongsheng. She muttered angrily, That little brat always makes people worry. Ever since he entered family men's house, he hasn't stopped crying. Now that he's dead, he's finally stopped. Min Hongsheng's eyes widened. He looked at Lan Qiuyue in surprise. What did you say? At this time, Yier and Jiang Zhao both looked at Lan Qiuyue in disbelief. How could she say such vicious words at this time? But they couldn't say anything about other people's family matters. However, Yier felt a little sad when he heard Lan Qiuyue's words. How could Qing Su like that family? That family without love. So, Qing Su was willing to be close to someone who wasn't her family. She wasn't willing to be close to Min Zikai. Lan Qiuyue added, I didn't say anything wrong. Do you think she looks like a second-year high school student? With her hair permed like that, she looked like a poodle. She painted her nails, wore big hoop earrings, wore a skirt that covered her buttocks, and wore a halter top that revealed her stomach. She went to the bar. She's obviously going to be a little whore in the future. To think that you still care so much about her. Lan Qiuyue became more and more enthusiastic as she spoke. Jiang Zhao looked down at the two people on the ground. One person was sitting against the wall in grief, while the other was squatting opposite her and scolding her viciously. Annie Lan, Qing Su isn't like what you said. She's just young and curious about new things. Yier covered her mouth as she listened to Jiang Zhao defend Qing Su. She felt bad for Qing Su. Lan Qiuyue tilted her head and looked at Jiang Zhao. She sneered. She's young? Does she even look a little young? Look at your Feiyu. How can she be the daughter of a rich family? She's going to be a beggar her whole life. After she said that, Min Hong, who had been silent all this time, suddenly reached out his hands and grabbed Lan Qiuyue's neck. Lan Qiuyue was suddenly pressed to the ground. The pressure on her neck was getting tighter and tighter. She wanted to call for help, but she could only yell. Who are you calling a beggar? Who are you calling a slut? If you didn't insist on a marriage alliance, I wouldn't have been separated from Qing Su's mother. What right does she have to be a beggar? It's all your fault. It's all your fault. I'll strangle you to death. You scolded my daughter. I'll strangle you to death. Jiang Zhao quickly let go of Ye in his arms. He squatted down and pulled Min Hongxing away. One of them is critically ill. Do you want another one to go in? Let her lie in there for the rest of her life. Min Hongxing wanted to rush over and strangle Lan Qiuyue, but Jiang Zhao held him down with even more strength. Zhua Hao's phone rang. He picked it up, and the person on the other side said, "Boss, the criminal's anti-tracking ability is very strong. He divided his bloodied clothes into several pieces and threw them in different directions. We sent out the best police dogs, but we wasted time magnifying the enemy's strengths. Is this what we should do? Today, we stabbed a high school girl full of holes all over her body. What about tomorrow? Let me tell you, even if you have to turn Haichang upside down, you have to find him for me." Zhua Hao's tone was powerful, and his thick and unruly eyebrows formed a line that he was determined to get. Hearing this, Min Hongxing pushed Jiang Zhao away and threw himself in front of Zhua Hao. He knelt down with a thud. "Young Master Zhua, thank you. Please help me find the murderer. I, Min Hongxing, am willing to do anything for you." Zhua Hao knew Min Hongxing's grief, but such an action still made him feel a little awkward. He wanted to pull Min Hongxing up. "Uncle Min, what are you saying? I'm a soldier." However, Min Hongxing refused. The tears on his face could not dry up. "It doesn't matter if you're young Master Zhua or a soldier. You're our family's benefactor." Ye seemed to see her father again. Min Hongxing actually could not bear to see her, so later on, even Jiang Zhao could not see her. Everyone related to Jiang Zhao would be on guard. After all, an old man of his age was a little stubborn. At this time, for Qing Su, he actually knelt down in front of Jiang Zhao's younger brother. However, Qing Su's misfortune was all because Qing Su risked her life to save her last time, which led to revenge. Ouyang, Yin was still staying in that public hospital. She was so nervous that she could not sleep. She could not contact the doctor in the morning. Someone said that she had applied for leave in the afternoon and did not come to work. They said that she suddenly fainted from blood and could not go to the operating table, so she could only rest. Inexplicably nervous, she could only walk back and forth in the room. She walked until she was annoyed. She felt that something was not right, but what was wrong? Money, so much money. It was impossible for a doctor not to be moved. But why did he come to refund the money? Ouyang Yin called Ouyang Sheng. "Grandpa, help me check if Jiang Zhao has." Ouyang Sheng's tone was a little depressed. "Yan, forget it. Even if Jiang Zhao divorced Yunyi, he would not marry you. The Jiang and Qin families do not agree to let you marry into their family." Qin Rongfang's words still echoed in his ears, mocking him. Ouyang Yin was momentarily surprised. What did Grandpa mean? "Grandpa, I don't want him to marry me. I want him to suffer." "Grandpa, aren't you going to help me? If you don't help me, then forget it. I will think of a way myself. At most, I will fight to the death. Anyway, I have lived long enough. If I see him living so well, I will not be able to live comfortably for the rest of my life. In that case, I might as well die." This time, Ouyang Yin did not cry over the phone and beg Ouyang Sheng to help her. Instead, she hung up. She had to find the attending doctor now and ask him to help her find a DNA test. When the time came, the testimonies of the two people would match. Jiang Zhao would not be able to deny it even if he wanted to. The phone that had just hung up rang again. Ouyang Sheng sighed. Yan, live well. Don't threaten Grandpa with death. I will help you if I can, but there are some ways that are not limited to this. Do you understand? Okay, I know. But as long as we can prove that this child is Jiang Zhao's, Yin, you will be traumatized for the rest of her life. They will have a knot in their hearts for the rest of their lives. Grandpa, this is what I want now. Ouyang Sheng replied, Okay, the attending doctor is missing. Grandpa, you have to help me find him. High City's airport had fewer flights at this time of the day, but the pedestrians were still busy, and they were reluctant to part with each other. At a corner of the airport, a middle-aged man was pulling his luggage. He was alone, and no one was sending him off. He was in a hurry and was looking around nervously. This man was the doctor who had received Ouyang Yan's check in the morning. He had no choice but to leave. He could not afford to offend Mayor Jiang and his family. He had received Ouyang Yan's money, and he had no choice but to leave. But when he arrived at the bank, he found out that the check was valid. But such a large sum of money needed to be booked a day in advance. Although he did not withdraw the money, he did not dare to stay in High City. Ouyang Yan had recorded him receiving the check, but there was no recording. Who could prove that he had received the check and not the cash? There was a queue at the security checkpoint, and he felt that every second was longer than an hour. The people in front of him did not seem to be moving. He was getting more and more anxious. Sir, can you let me cut the queue? My flight is about to take off. Sir, what time is your flight? The person in front of him glanced at the ticket in his hand. My flight will take off 15 minutes earlier than yours. Sir, you don't have to worry. You can make it in time. The doctor exhaled and smiled awkwardly. He looked around again and felt that there were eyes looking at him from everywhere. Those eyes were fierce. If they were not treacherous, they were malicious. If not, they were looking at him with schemes that he could not see clearly. He felt that he had fallen into a whirlpool that he could not escape from. There were jackals, wolves, tigers, and leopards everywhere, and they wanted to tear him apart at any moment. At this time, someone patted his shoulder heavily, and the doctor woke up from his fear. A soldier was standing beside him. It was a soldier and not a policeman. The soldier's uniform was neat and upright, and the badge on his military cap made people tremble when they saw it. The soldier saluted the doctor with a faint smile, but said in an irresistible tone, Sir, we drove here to pick you up. Why don't we leave tomorrow? At the exit not far away, there were a few soldiers in the same uniform. The doctor suddenly felt his vision turn black, and his legs turned to jelly. The doctor was brought into the military vehicle, and he was so scared that he fainted. Boss, we found the doctor. Where's the most suitable place to invite him? Bring him to his office in the hospital. Don't blow up this matter. It's not necessary. Okay. The call ended the next afternoon. Qin Fian took 2 documents and went to the public hospital's obstetrics and gynecology department to find Ouyang Yan. Sister Yan, are you still recuperating? Qin Fian stood in the ward and looked at the furnishings. He did not look at Ouyang Yan and asked casually. Ouyang Yan heard this tone and felt like he was mocking her. She held it in and asked, Fian, why are you so free today? Come and see. Xinwu 799. Chapter 665. Qin Fian was born with a good appearance and was extremely beautiful. Even if there was a hint of sarcasm in his words, it could still be covered up by his enchanting smile. Even if his pair of red phoenix eyes were a little disgusted at this time, it was still the same. Isn't it? A person like me who has nothing to do will always go to such an unlucky place like the hospital. It seems that I have something to do. Ouyang Yan could be regarded as a calm woman except for the matter of Jiang Zhao. Therefore, even if Qin Fian was a beauty who could bring disaster to the country and people, she would not be moved by him if he was not her dish. She knew that Qin Fian did not treat her the same as before and even somewhat hated her, but she did not mind. If Jiang Zhao did not belong to her, she did not want to maintain a friendly relationship with anyone. Qin Fian mocked her, so she mocked him back. Then why are you still here? Aren't you afraid that it will become more and more unlucky? Qin Fian knocked the file bag in his hand with the other raised palm. He casually found a chair and sat down, crossing his legs. Just like Shin Kai, he was as hooligan as he could be. Oh, elder sister Yin, You have been here for so long and have absorbed more unlucky energy than me. You can help me block it. I'm not afraid. Yin was speechless for a moment and snorted. I've only been here for a few days. I had an operation. Didn't your brother tell you? Qin Fian laughed. Elder sister Yin, is having sex also called an operation now? The advertisements on TV broadcast 1 minute of painless sex every day so that you don't feel pain and can go home after getting out of bed. This is clearly like a preventive injection, right? Yin's expression changed from green to white, red to black. In my opinion, it's really a precaution. After this precaution, elder sister Yin will know that there is something called a condom in this world the next time she does it with someone else. Even if she can't hold it back at that time, she'll burn like firewood. Qin Fian said in an exaggerated tone. He even exaggeratedly waved the document bag in the air. There is also something called an emergency contraceptive after the event, which is effective within 72 hours. If you ask me, I don't think we can lock ourselves in the room and have sex for 3 days and 3 nights, right? Oh, taking the medicine will harm the body. I heard that it can be calculated as a safe period. However, I heard that the safe period is not very accurate, and the risk factor is quite high. There's a kind of contraceptive called momofulon, which can be taken every day. It seems that this kind of contraceptive has the least side effects. In fact, it doesn't matter if you have a strong erection. Why don't you just put a ring on it and abort it when you get married and want to have children in the future? In the end, it's not good. Women like elder sister Yin are the ones who suffer. Next time, you should discuss with your intimate man and use a condom. No matter how expensive it is, it can't be expensive to the sky. Yin sat on the bed and squeezed the bed sheet tightly. She was so angry that she could only say, You shameless. Homosexual, you are too shameless. Qin Fian actually rarely heard Yin say such dirty words. So when he heard the word shameless, he thought that he was hallucinating. However, since she was willing to frame him, saying some dirty words was nothing. He took a long breath, shook his head, and smiled. In fact, I am not too shameless. Compared with elder sister Yin, I am far from being shameless. As he said that, he stretched his neck and looked at Yin, who had exploded with anger, and smiled slyly. Why don't you leave the hospital? It's not a big deal. This thing can't be considered an operation at all. Really, you see, the business of this public hospital is so good. It's convenient to make a bed for the patients who are waiting in line for a bed. Qin Fian, do people in your family only know how to bully others? Your brother. Qin Fian asked with interest. What's wrong with my brother? Yin had already sensed that something was wrong from the way Qin Fian spoke when he first entered the room, but she had no way out. You're right. I did it because of your brother's operation. So what? The child is his. Qin Fian laughed again, as if he was about to burst out laughing. Yin looked at him and felt that her back was sweating. She shouldn't be so professional. She shouldn't be flustered. She should be calm. She should be calm. She reminded herself over and over again that Qin Fian was just a paper tiger, deliberately testing her, on purpose. Elder sister Yin, why is my brother so powerful? Can he hit a cow across a mountain? He hasn't even touched you. How can he make you pregnant? Qin Fian's words were actually very unpleasant. He also wanted to pay attention to his manners. But when he thought that his family had been in a mess because of Yin's matter in the past few months, he felt a wave of annoyance. A good big family like theirs was burping all day long. The small family was not harmonious, which directly caused the whole family to be in a mess. Qin Fian, watch your mouth. If I were to say something clean, would you be able to take it? Qin Fian's face slowly darkened. He slowly took off his glasses. His red phoenix eyes lost the frame that represented gentleness. When he narrowed his eyes, there was a kind of fierceness that could not be hidden. What evidence do you have? Yin touched her forehead. She wanted to get out of bed and slap Qin Fian, but she was afraid that her body language would be seen through by him. Qin Fian immediately put on his glasses again. You finally asked this question. I was waiting to die. While looking at Yin meaningfully, he unhurriedly went around the craft paper bag. Yin watched as the coil slowly unwound itself. It was as if she was walking down a long tunnel without any light. The more she walked, the more afraid she became. The slower the coil unwound, the more she felt that a ferocious beast would suddenly appear from the other end of the tunnel. Qin Fian laughed and was not anxious at all. Sister Yin, I'm telling you the truth. I'm reminding you because we grew up together. Most men only want to sleep with women, but they don't want to take responsibility. You see, how painful is it when you're pregnant and can't find the child's father? Fortunately, my elder brother is a benevolent and righteous person. On account of your past relationship, he was afraid to see you become a single mother, so he helped you. Otherwise, how embarrassing would it be for an unmarried, rich young lady like you to go shopping with a big belly? Qin Fian, shut up. Yin jumped off the bed, picked up a cup, and threw it at Qin Fian. Qin Fian nimbly tilted his head and dodged the flying cup. However, when the cup broke behind him, the water splashed onto Qin Fian's back. He shrugged as if nothing had happened. Haha, I'm just being kind. Sister Yin, don't treat my kindness as malice. I say, my brother's being kind too. Our government still doesn't do enough to protect women, right? Last time, when I went to sister-in-law's house, the neighborhood committee even sent condoms to our door, saying that we can get them free of charge. Look at me. I forgot that elder sister Yin is unmarried. Although they don't provide legal free condoms, there are vending machines on the side of the road that sell condoms for 1 yuan. But how could elder sister Yin not know about it? Is it because she's too naive that she still doesn't know much about this even though she's almost 30 years old? Yin didn't say anything. This time, she rushed towards Qin Fian. She had to tear his mouth off. Qin Fian suddenly stood up at this time. He held the document bag in one hand and suddenly grabbed Yin's hand with the other hand. Qin Fian was tall, so when he pulled Yin's hand behind her back, Yin was in so much pain that she didn't dare to move. Qin Fian waved the document bag in front of Yin. Yin, it's not my brother's child. You want to frame him, and you still have the nerve to say that you're hospitalized because of my brother? Think about it. My brother was caught lying in bed with you by my sister-in-law, but he still refuses to admit that this child is related to him. Why? Because even if this child is his, he won't want it. You don't deserve to have his child. Look at you now. Do you still look like the Yin from back then? Yin's hand was in so much pain that her voice was trembling. Jiang Zhao is a bastard. Qin Fian said fiercely, What's wrong with my brother? What did he do to you? You were the one who broke the engagement back then. Did my brother force you not to get engaged? Did my brother force you to leave Haichun? After you left, you didn't allow my brother to find another woman? You're rotten. You still want to ruin my brother? Think about how much weight you have. In the past, everyone followed behind you and flattered you. Some people did it because you were kind, pure, beautiful, and generous. But some people did it because you were the granddaughter-in-law of the Jiang and Qin families. Why do you think you're so arrogant? Jiang Zhao caused my miscarriage. Qin Fian gritted his teeth. Miscarriage? You deserve it. You didn't find that man to take responsibility, but you wanted to make our Jiang and Qin families restless. Let me tell you, if Grandpa and Grandpa Jiang hadn't stopped me, I would have killed you. Yin shivered. Was this the so-called friendship between families that had been friends for generations? Was this the friendship that had been played since childhood? It was all fake. In these rich and powerful families, everything was fake. Fake smiles, fake words, fake promises, fake people and things. Only one thing was real, and that was the mutual deception of each other. These people had schemed against her step by step, tested her, and forced her to leave their sight. Yan's smile became colder and colder. Qin Fian was annoyed for a moment, and he pushed her hard and threw her away. Yin fell to the ground. She slowly raised her head and looked at Qin Fian, who was standing not far away from her. Even the corners of her mouth were filled with hatred. Qin Fian, you're a homosexual. Why do you have to judge me? So what if I'm a homosexual? I've been a homosexual in Haicheng for so many years. Has anyone jumped out and pointed at my nose and called me shameless? Of course, you're an exception, but I naturally won't take your word seriously. Your evaluation is too unimportant to me. Qin Fian saw that there were a few bottles of mineral water neatly placed on the tray on the table behind him. He generously placed the document bag on the table and opened a bottle of mineral water. He moved a few steps and kicked the trash can under the bed to his feet. He bent down and placed the hand that had grabbed Ouyang Yan's arm above the trash can to wash his hands. Welfare Songshu 566. Chapter 666. When Ouyang Yan saw Qin Fian's actions, her face immediately turned pale. Do you think I'm dirty? Qin Fian glanced over at the woman sitting on the ground and sneered. Oh, don't flatter yourself like this. I don't need to dislike you. It's just that I don't like to touch women. I'm gay. The mineral water bottle in her hand was a little straight, and the water kept flowing unevenly. When the water poured onto the watch, she was shocked. It's over. Water got in. You're making a fuss over nothing. You don't even know how to deal with it at the specialty store. Not only are you gay, but you're also an idiot. Ouyang Yan was angry with Qin Fian. Qin Fian threw the bottle into the trash can and took off the watch from his wrist. He gently wiped the watch's face and back cover with a folded handkerchief in his pocket. He despised Ouyang Yan for not knowing the market. What do you know? This is a fake watch. Ouyang Yan was so angry that she stopped talking to Qin Fian. I'm not in the mood to tease you anymore. I'm here to tell you that there are 2 DNA tests. One of them is the bastard in your belly, and the other is my brother's. You can find a professional to compare them. The embryo sample is still very well preserved. You can also do a test with your own. This way, you'll know if anyone has tampered with the embryo. That thing is yours, but it's not my brother's. Next time, I should specifically charge you with hindering marriage and send a woman like you to prison. Qin Fian looked at the watch in his hand and was a little angry. By the way, if you're angry, tear it up. This is a copy. The original is with me. If you want 10,000 copies to show off at home, I'm willing to pay for them. Bang! The door was slammed shut. Qin Fian left. Ouyang Yan knew that if it wasn't for the fact that the fake watch got in water and made him angry, he would have humiliated her for a long time. The floor was a little cold, and the cold air went straight into her bones. It was like a poisonous snake that caught hold of her and bit her until she felt pain all over her body. When Ouyang Sheng came in and saw Ouyang Yan sleeping on the floor, he panicked and helped her up. Yan, what's wrong? The floor is cold. You can't sleep on the floor. Do you know that you've had surgery? What I did wasn't a surgery. Qin Fian's words were vicious, but he was right. What kind of surgery was it? Painless for a minute? It was funny. She was now a joke in everyone's eyes at Ninth Mansion, Jiang Zhao's house. Jiang Zhao placed the DNA report in front of Yi. Yinyi, can you be completely relieved now? Could only let out all the gloominess in her heart. I can finally be completely at ease. Everyone was selfish. When they were selfish, they would realize that they were unusually cold-blooded towards others. Yi no longer felt guilty for Ouyang Yan. She just felt that this child no longer had anything to do with her life. It wasn't Jiang Zhao's child. Ouyang Yan came to provoke her, and it was her own fault for having a miscarriage. At least, she and Jiang Zhao didn't have to bear a debt of conscience. Actually, even if it was Jiang Zhao's child, she couldn't wait to have a miscarriage. At that point, if they couldn't separate, if they couldn't bear to part with each other, she could only hope that there would be less obstacles between them. Otherwise, how could she be at ease? Yi collapsed in Jiang Zhao's arms. Zhao, it's finally over. He stroked the back of the woman in his arms. If this woman hadn't married him at such a young age, she could only be called a girl now. No one could predict the changes and encounters in life. After alighting from this stop, the journey was peaceful. But I met you at the next stop, and it became my misfortune. Their lips were pressed together, soft and long. They weren't in a hurry to break this moment of peace. They enjoyed the throbbing and sense of security brought about by the contact of their lips at 11 p.m. In the forest in the suburbs of High City, a dark figure was hiding under a tree. The man opened a bag and took out a piece of bread. He roughly tore open the wrapping paper and wolfed it down. He then took out a bottle of mineral water, twisted it open, and poured the water into his mouth, which was still full of unchewed bread. After a few mouthfuls, he finally felt more at ease. He took out his phone and dialed a number based on his memory. He was hung up once, so he dialed again. Finally, the call was picked up. The person on the other end of the line had been processed. There was a strong electronic noise, but he could still hear the impatience in his tone. "Why are you calling me?" the disheveled man said. "I'm being looked for by the army now. I need to hide. Help me arrange a place." The person on the other end couldn't help but laugh. "Hide? Why should I help you arrange a place? The life I bought was Yunyi, but you want to be the family man's illegitimate daughter. What happened to you has nothing to do with me." The man suddenly became agitated and stood up abruptly. "But my brother got into trouble because he went to be Yunyi." The person on the other end of the line was self-righteous. When he spoke, he didn't lose the agitation of the disheveled man at all. "So what? He took my money, and I paid him in full in one go. Things can't be resolved, and you still want to pursue responsibility? The body I want is still shuttling through the streets of Haicheng. You still have the cheek to ask me to arrange a place for you?" The disheveled man gritted his teeth with hatred. Fine. Don't blame me for being heartless. Ha! You want to turn yourself in and then give me up? Ha! You're so childish. You keep saying that you want to avenge your brother, but you don't even have the ability to do that. You still have the cheek to say that there's no business you don't dare to accept. Trash. Although the man knew that the person on the other end of the line was deliberately provoking him, he still fell for it. Who said that? Your actions said so. Your actions and results say everything. You don't deserve your reputation. I don't care about spending this little bit of money. What's this little bit of money to me? It's just a drop in the ocean. I won't even blink if you ask me to pay 10 times the price. But do you have the ability to do that? You can't even kill a weak woman, and now you've provoked the army. You still dare to say that you'll accept any business? If I kill Yunyi, will you pay 10 times the price of my brother? Spread the news of Yunye's death, and the money will be transferred to your account immediately. Deal. Don't boast too early. I've heard too much. Let's see the results. Bullsh *T. After hanging up, the man pinched the bread and put it in his mouth again. He took a big bite and carelessly drank with the mineral water in his mouth. His gaze was fixed on the night lights of High City, and the mineral water bottle in his hand made cracking sounds. In the residential area of South Jiuan, there was still a window that was lit at 3 in the morning. This was Zhou Li's residence. There was a crisp slap. Yuan Shichang raised his hand and landed it on Zhou Li's face. Zhou Li couldn't withstand such a strong force and fell down by the bed in the master bedroom. At this time, she was still wearing her pajamas. She couldn't sleep in the middle of the night, so she got out of bed to pour herself a glass of water. Yuan Shichang was woken up and muttered something to her. She fiercely retorted. Such a stubborn temper angered Yuan Shichang. "If our son doesn't come back, I've never seen you so arrogant in front of Yunyi and Jiang Zhao. So what if he doesn't come back? Isn't it because you can't give birth? Do you have to be like this if you can give birth?" This sentence touched Yuan Shichang's bottom line. No man would want to have a problem with their reproductive function. It seemed to have poked at his fragile self-esteem. So Yuan Shichang jumped out of bed and gave Zhou Li a slap. "You're such a slut. If it weren't for our old relationship, there would be so many young girls out there. Do you think I would care about you? Zhou Li, this is what you call being shameless when I give you face. Get the F*** out of here tomorrow. This house is written in your name. I can make sure you don't get it." Beauty novel Xinwu 799. Chapter 667. Zhou Li covered her burning face and looked incredulously at the man who was looking at her with hatred. Yuan Shichong, you hit me? You actually hit me? Yes, I hit you. What right do you have to hit me? Jolie frowned tightly. A crack slowly opened in her heart. What right do I have? Who do you think you are? You're not my wife. Why should I spoil you? Isn't it because you gave birth to a son for me? Now that I can't even get my son back, you still have the face to be arrogant in front of me. Not your wife? You said that the person you love is me, not Zhou Yin. But she's better at running a household than you. Do you think I'll divorce Zhou Yin and marry you? Why would I marry you? Help me run such a big household? Other than being defeated, what else can you do? How are you better than Zhou Yin? At least Zhou Yin is more obedient than you. You only know how to flirt. Slut. Yuan Shichong. Jolie couldn't listen anymore. She stood up with the help of the bed and rushed toward Yuan Shichong to hit him. I'll fight you. Get lost. How could Jolie be Yuan Shichong's opponent? She was pushed down in an instant. The more Jolie resisted, the harder Yuan Shichong hit her. The corner of her mouth was soon bleeding from the slap. This was Jolie's first unforgettable soft body injury since she was born. In fact, the pain it brought to her heart was indescribable. She never had a lack of suitors. When Yin Hongwei pursued her, he also spent a lot of effort. However, the person she loved was Yuan Shichong. Back then, she married Yin Hongwei to anger Yuan Shichong. Therefore, Yuan Shichong wasn't a man she flirted with after marriage. But now, in Yuan Shichong's eyes, she had become a slut. If my son doesn't come back, I'll kill you. Jolie, I'll definitely kill you. Early in the morning, the sky was still dark. There was only a bit of misty light. The Qin residence was already busy at 5 o'clock. Master woke up very early as usual, no different from the past. However, Qin Rongfang called Jiang Zhao and Yi back to the mansion early. This was the first time that Jiang Zhao and Yi had been called back so early. Qin Rongfang had been very uneasy after knowing the results of the DNA test. Old people didn't sleep much. At this time, he couldn't close his eyes for the whole night. He knew that his 3 grandsons were in cahoots, and they had smoothed things out from the beginning to the end. Step by step, they worked together seamlessly. His son-in-law obviously knew that Zhua Hao was using his connections in the army to look for someone, but he turned a blind eye and didn't ask. He knew that his son-in-law had always been upright and straightforward. If someone bullied his son, it was already his limit for him to not use his connections to take revenge. Zhua Haofei helped Jiang Zhao unravel the entire situation. He had no objections. What should be cleared had to be cleared. He knew that they were all young, impulsive, and hot-blooded. Since Jiang Zhao secretly dealt with the Ouyang family, he knew that his grandson would not be able to swallow this. Now that the results of the DNA test were out, he felt that he had been wronged. His means of revenge were even more severe than before. Although the family Ouyang and the Qin family had quarreled, Ouyang Sheng didn't do anything wrong after leaving the Qin residence that day. He even showed goodwill. Although he didn't believe that Ouyang Sheng really wanted to show goodwill, he was always on guard. But if he wanted to do something to Ouyang Yin, this matter wouldn't be so easy to solve. The family Ouyang was a huge family. It wasn't easy to shake them. In addition, once this matter was out, Jiang Zhao definitely couldn't run away. The doctor confessed everything about receiving a check from Ouyang Yin. However, if he were to sue Ouyang Yin, then the fact that Jiang Zhao had been caught naked in the Ouyang family, as well as the fact that he had intentionally used violence to cause Ouyang Yin to miscarry, would not be able to be covered up. After all, the family Ouyang wasn't a small courtyard. They didn't have the ability to make this matter known to everyone. If they really made a fuss, Lai Qing's positive image and the Jiang family's strong foundation would be affected. In this way, it would become a lose-lose situation. He could tolerate letting the Ouyang Yin go, but he couldn't ruin Jiang Zhao's future and the Jiang family status because of Ouyang Yin. This move would affect the entire Jiang and Qin clans. When Yi Er and Jiang Zhao arrived at the Qin residence, the kitchen had already prepared breakfast. Plain porridge and side dishes were Qin Rongfang's standard. At his age, he needed to take care of his body. Money couldn't buy him weight loss. He always insisted on not making his body acidic. Qin Fian rarely stayed at the Qin residence. so the breakfast was prepared according to Qin Rongfang's preferences and standards. But not long after the meal, Qin Rongfang looked at Ye, who was slowly eating porridge and side dishes, and then turned to Uncle Wu. He said, "Old Wu, go get 2 free-range eggs for the Yi girl." Ye waved his hand. "Grandfather, no need. I've had enough." Qin Rongfang held the small bowl of porridge in his left hand and the bowl in his right. His wrist was on the table. At this time, the light above the table was very bright, illuminating his white hair. His eyebrows were like snow, and his eyes were full of love. "Ye, grandfather is old and usually eats bland food. I haven't eaten things like eggs, which are high in protein, for a long time. Even if I eat them, it's not good for digestion. This has become a habit. Look at me. I called you over today to prepare a new breakfast, but I forgot to inform old Wu. Look at me. I've already prepared the food I usually eat. I should have prepared some nutritious breakfast for you." "It's too late to prepare now. Add 2 eggs and eat it." "Grandfather, no need, no need. I also have plain porridge and side dishes for breakfast at home." "How can that be? You've been married for so long. It's time for you to prepare for a child. Grandfather isn't rushing you. You're still young, but Zhao Zhao isn't young." Qin Rongfang saw Yi blushing and lowering his head, so he quickly said, "There's no rush. Take care of your wife first. Only when your body is better will the baby be healthy." Jiang Zhao coughed twice. Thinking about the bottle of contraceptive pills in the drawer, he spoke up for Yi. "Grandfather, you're too much. How am I old? Also, think about it. Father is still in the hospital, and Yi has to manage the shop and go to school. She really doesn't have the energy." Yi tilted his head and looked at Jiang Zhao. He was a little disappointed. However, when he thought about it, how could he have the energy to have a child now? There were so many things waiting for him. When Qin Rongfang heard Jiang Zhao's words, he could only give up. After a while, the boiled eggs were placed on the table. Qin Rongfang told Yi to eat quickly. "It's okay if you don't want a child now. Young people still have to eat an egg a day. Don't eat plain porridge and side dishes every day. You can't lose weight. Young people consume more energy than us old people. You have to replenish more nutrients. Tomorrow, I'll get the old maid here to teach you how to make some nutritious breakfast." Yi knew that it was useless to refuse. Grandfather had always done whatever he said. Moreover, Grandfather had never used his brain to beat around the bush over such a small matter. He nodded obediently. After the meal, Qin Rongfang sat at the head of the table as usual. Yi and Jiang Zhao sat opposite each other. The seat next to them was empty. They could see the servants come in to serve them mouthwash. "Zhao Zhao, I called you and Yi over for breakfast so early today because I wanted to tell you not to pursue the matter about Ouyang Yin anymore." Jiang Zhao was stunned. "Grandfather, I know you've been wronged, but it won't do you any good if this matter blows up," Qin Rongfang said slowly and unhurriedly. Jiang Zhao suddenly felt that this meal was a little funny. When he shook his head to vent his anger, he sneered lightly and finally said, "Grandfather, do you know how angry I've been over this matter for the past few months? I've done everything I could. It was Ouyang Yin who forced me. Yesterday, the doctor also confessed that Ouyang Yin gave him a large sum of money and asked him to find a DNA technician to change the test results. She insisted that the child was mine. How could I let her off so easily?" Qin Rongfang was the most rational person there. When Yi looked at the head of the table, she saw that Qin Rongfang was looking at her meaningfully. He did not look at Jiang Zhao, who was indignant and protesting. He smiled gently. With the family Ouyang's power, if they really want to do anything to Ouyang Yin, even if they take her to court, don't tell me you want to secretly find someone to kill her. You wouldn't do such a thing, right? Yi trembled. She was so frightened that her hands were trembling. "Grandfather, I didn't think of that." Jiang Zhao suddenly stood up. "Grandfather, don't scare Yunyi. Look at me when you talk." Qin Rongfang tilted his head and looked at Jiang Zhao. He still had a gentle smile on his face. He raised a skinny hand and gestured for Jiang Zhao to sit down. Jiang Zhao sat down again. "Zhao Zhao, will you find someone to kill Ouyang Yin?" "Impossible." Jiang Zhao thought that his grandfather must have taken the wrong medicine. Then we can only go to court, but this road will be very difficult. The doctor did not withdraw the check that Ouyang Yin gave out. Let's not talk about this for now. There's a cause and effect to this matter. The earliest cause is that you slept with her. This matter, no one can say for sure. Being set up? We all know that we were set up, but where is the evidence? We need evidence when we go to court. But there is one thing. Ouyang Yin had a miscarriage because of your violence. You will not be able to bring her down, but you will be charged with intentional injury. If Ouyang Shang decides to go all out and make it known that Ouyang Yin had a miscarriage because of you, even if the public says that Ouyang Yin is shameless, the Zhang family's reputation as the #1 red family in the East that has been built up for several generations will be completely destroyed because of this. Zhao Zhao, you know that your brother is a businessman. There have been many women who have been involved in scandals before, but has there ever been a woman who jumped out and said that he is a good-for-nothing? Moreover, you are in politics. Your father is the commander of our military region. So, Ouyang Yin, you can't use this method to deal with her. Although your father and mother are divorced, your grandfather and I have always thought that the Jiang and Qin families are in-laws. Zhao Zhao, everyone in this family can't ruin the whole family for their own sake. Beauty novel Hongcha 866 that you're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.